Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another stream of... Oh, my God, what a game that was yesterday. Manchester City 2, Tottenham Hotspur 3 in what was an absolutely jaw-dropping game of football, you have to say. Yesterday, I went with Brian, who's with me. Brian, thank you for joining me again this this morning, this afternoon. Unfortunately, the morning got away from us.
Been a crazy day.
I think we were still out in the morning, I think we have to say.
Yeah, what time do we get to put back? We got about 2:30 in the morning. But all I can say is lightning does strike twice.
It's a bit of a late start today, but I think you have to forgive us for a lot of celebrating last night for what was an emphatic victory. These victories don't come your way very often, so you got to enjoy them when they last.
Well, apart from if I go away with you, mate, then they happen every single time.
All when Science Stella in the studio, exactly. That's then it's like guaranteed to happen, a last minute winner. I was saying we got to have them on standby, just waiting outside the studio in case the stoppage time comes. We're not winning. Draft them in, get them in there.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done. What reactions they had, though, didn't they? Sty and Stell, as I'm calling them. Sty and Stell were brilliant.
People wondering where Ben is. He says he's trying to talk, but nothing's coming out. He's completely lost his voice. So he's taken the day off. So Brian has thankfully filled in for him. We really appreciate Brian coming in. And yeah, how we're going to structure today's stream. We're going to look at every word Conte had to say after the game in his press conference, and we'll react to what he had to say. We're going to do a match review. We're going to go through how the game went yesterday and our feelings over it. We're going to look at Twitter as well. Twitter, which I'm really looking forward to, a Twitter Reacts video to see how social media reacted to the absolute brilliant victory yesterday. And we're going to get callers on for people to have their say on the game yesterday, what it means for our season, and people just to wax lyrical, mainly about Harry Kane, but whoever you want to wax lyrical about, you can wax lyrical about. But yeah, so let's first of all see what Conte had to say.
Let's do that.
I'm looking forward to that. I haven't actually watched it back yet because I've been too busy doing all sorts.
I haven't seen it.
So let's see what Conte had to say, and then we will come back and we'll react to that, and we'll react to we'll review the game.
That sounds like a good plan.
Exactly.
Good plan.
Come on, boys.
Congratulations. Is that your best moment as a Spurs manager, and after a difficult week, does it show what this club and this team can do when you're all focused?
For sure, it was a great win for us against a fantastic team like Manchester City, and great compliment to Manchester City, because also tonight they showed to be the best team, in my opinion, in the world, for the organization, for the players that they have, for Pep, and to win a game like this, it means that we had a perfect performance. We were very good defensively, but before the game, during the press conference, I said we prepared the game very well, and we had a plan. And for sure, when you play against Manchester City, you know that the ball possession will be maybe 70% as for them. But I always say to my players that also in the moment that we were defending, in our mind has to be the target to win the ball and then to attack. And then when we had the possession ball, I think we moved the ball very well. The first goal was outstanding for me, and because we prepared this type of situation, and this type of win has to give us confidence to trust in the work that we are doing. But we know very well that there many games in front of us, and we had to fight a lot to try to stay very close for the first positions.
And how hard did you have to work on the training ground this week after 3 defeats to bring a performance like that?
Yeah, but it was two defeats, no? Because the other defeats in league was against Chelsea before the international break, because then in FA Cup we won against Brighton, and then we lost 2 games against Southampton and the Wolves. For sure, it's not easy when you lose games, because the confidence go a bit down. But we have to trust in the work that we are doing. We have to believe in what we are doing every day. I'm enjoying to work with this group of players, because they show me every day great availability. They decide to improve. They will also to come into my idea of football, and we want to try to give our best until the end of the season. And my target is at the end of the season to see that all my players, every single players are improved. It means that our level has improved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Alistair Gold, please.
Antonio, I want to know.
Congratulations. It's me.
Thanks.
Congratulations, Antonio.
Thanks.
Obviously, I think a lot of people are going to ask you about Harry Kane, but can I ask you about Deki Kulusevski and what you made of his first start for Tottenham tonight?
Non ho sentito niente. I didn't listen anything.
Sorry, Kulusevski. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah. Kulusevski?
Yeah.
About Kulusevski. But today, to speak about only one player is very difficult for me, because every single player, they made a fantastic performance. For sure, Kulusevski played an amazing game, and he's only 21 years old. But despite this, he has good experience, because when you play with the Juventus, you have to manage a lot of pressure in Italy, and he's a good sign for us, and he's strong physically, good technically. It's very difficult, I repeat, to speak about only one player. Sonny was fantastic today, and Harry, I think that to speak about performance, Harry, what I have to tell and about him, that he was outstanding. But the 2 midfielders, the defensive line, the keeper, it was good. The people, the player that came in on the bench, for sure, when you win against Manchester City, it means that you played a perfect game.
Thanks, Ali. And we've got time for one more. James Bench, please.
Hi, Antonio. I know you probably don't want to talk about individuals, as you said, but it's such an exceptional game from Harry Kane. You've managed some of the best strikers in the world. With a performance like that, is Kane the best striker you've managed when it's going like that?
Harry, for sure, we are talking about a world-class striker, and he's working very well. I think that he's improving also under physical aspect, and I'm working with him also to become a point of reference for us, to become more striker, because sometimes in the past, he liked to go outside of the box and to play, but he's very good also to do this. And also with Harry, we are working a lot in many aspects. I think that my my aspiration, I repeat, to arrive at the end of the season and to see every single player improve it after the work that we are doing. It means that our team is going in the right direction and is going to be more competitive to try to fight for something important.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. That was Antonio. Oh, sorry. That was Antonio Conte's press conference saying it said to beat a team like City, we had to have a near perfect performance, he said. Obviously waxing lyrical about the likes of Harry Kane and other players. And, after all the talk of what's gone on this week with Conte, him not being happy, supposedly. As Simon Jordan said, there was the narrative forming about him being not happy with the project at Tottenham because of what he said in this interview and people reading into that. Do you think yesterday was a big response to that? And maybe do you see it in himself, how he reacted to the win?
Do you know what? All I will say, first of all, is what an outstanding performance from 1 to 11. I'm sure we'll wax a bit lyrical when we do the player ratings later, but coming back off those 2 defeats that was shocking, all the controversy that's been around with the Y word, with the South Korean tour, with the interview, what a way and what a place to put in a performance and effort like that. It was absolutely incredible. Especially for us at the stadium, but I can imagine everyone watching it in the pubs or at home around the world. What an event. It's just the perfect remedy. Perfect remedy.
Yeah. And all right, so let's get into a match review yesterday for the game. Going into this game on the back of 3 defeats, you argue you couldn't be facing Man City at a worse time. I think they're on the back of, I think they're definitely an unbeaten run of at least 15, 16 games. I think they'd won like 14 out of those 15 games as well, drawing like very few of them. Off the back of winning their first leg round of 16 Champions League game, 5-0 away from home midweek. You're thinking, how the hell do we stop this kind of team? And I said before the game that I'm actually not too worried about us having the ability to create chances, because I judging by how we played against Liverpool, if we can make sure that Son and Kane are staying up the pitch, and we can make sure that they're getting in behind and exploiting space, City will lose space for us. That's how they play. And I wasn't too concerned about us creating chances, and we did, even in the first few minutes. That's how, we were on that. We got in behind, we got that goal. But the big question mark for me was, would we have the concentration, would we have the power to withstand the City pressure when push came to shove? And for a period it seemed like no, to be honest, because Lloris made a mistake, Romero with the handball, but we were clinical on the counter, we made those chances count, and by and large, we didn't make it easy for City to get easy chances on our goal, and that was the main thing to get us the victory.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I remember saying to you on the coach home that I can't remember seeing a game where Foden and De Bruyne were so quiet. Every time they got the ball, I was like, oh God, here we go. This is, especially with De Bruyne and the accuracy and the passing range he has. But we literally just bullied them. We really, really did. And the chances they did have, they had a couple clear cut that they didn't take, and there was a wonderful save from Hugo. But the performance to a man was so... The word I've been using was disciplined. We seem to have a lack of discipline in the last couple of games, especially in Southampton, with allowing James Ward-Prowse to just whip those balls in. But yesterday, they were on their game for 90 minutes. They really were. And people that have come in for a lot of criticism, and from me, Emerson and for sure, Davis, I haven't criticised that much, but he'd come in for some. They both put in great performances. It was just a perfect all-round display. And like you said, we limited their chances. And we were so clinical. And I
think the most telling stat, which sums up how the game went for me, is City had 21 shots. Spurs had 6 shots throughout the whole game. Yet City had 4 shots on target and we had 5.
Wow.
So that sums up how each team used their possession, like how we were when we pick down moments to attack. You know, City had 72% possession, so had 28% possession throughout the whole game. So we had to use, when we got the ball, we had to make sure we used it. You know, we couldn't, because if you're sloppy or you're giving the ball away when you have 28% possession, you know, that means that all of a sudden you can get penned in very easily. I never felt like we were penned in, because when we did get the ball, we used it really, really effectively. We were getting the ball very quickly to Harry Kane, who was making it stick. He was holding the ball up. Then we had the runners of Son, of Kulu, on even the wing backs. Emerson and Cess were helping support the attack as well from wing back, even though they weren't the ones really creating. They were definitely an option there, and they were using their pace to good advantage to stretch City. And when we did get forward, we were creating the better chances, and we looked more likely to score, and that's because we were exploiting the space that City were leaving, because they play with a lot of risk. They always do that, and that's why they are where they are, because they have the players to do that. But we use the space to our advantage. And you have to say, when we did get into the final third, on the rare occasions that we did, we were clinical, and we were. I think we were brilliant. The way we moved the ball forward,
we were outstanding. We were, and you know what? Every time we actually went forward, it felt like we were going to score. The last few games, it's not felt that way, but we looked so menacing up front. Even that wonderful opportunity that Kane had, that Emerson saved with his foot.
Yeah.
It was a great save, great build up for that goal, that opportunity as well. Just, we may not have gone forward a lot, but when we did, it was so potent, and it was just like we said. Kulusevski, I was very impressed with, very impressed with his first full start. But the whole team, golden assist, yeah, and he could have had another assist with Kane's disallowed.
Yeah,
it was a great performance. But from 1 to 11, they all deserve a huge amount of respect. It was, I couldn't believe I watched it again.
Yeah, and everyone really stepped up. And you know, if we go through the game, you know, literally 4 minutes in, we make that space. That plan of action was there for all to see within 4 minutes. Davis fires the ball into Kane. He plays what has to be an exceptional pass through to Son. Not only was it one touch around the corner, no look, but also perfectly weighted into Son's path. Because how City play, because they push so high up, and they've got Edison running forward, and they're squeezing. If you hit it a tiny bit too much pace on it, then Edison's coming out. If there's not enough pace on it, then you get Kyle Walker or someone getting back on it. So that had to be perfectly weighted from Harry Kane. And Son goes for on goal. I was a bit surprised, actually, he didn't take it on himself, because I think he wasn't under too much pressure. There was a defender running back on him, but he had a lot of space in between them. So I think, more often than not, Son will probably take that on himself. But he saw Kulu there. He probably did the right thing in the end. But I do actually feel like we got a bit lucky in a sense that Kulu slotted it through his legs, and it could have easily been blocked by the defender. So I was a bit surprised Sonny didn't take it on himself, but fair enough. He picked the right option, and we went 1-up after 4 minutes. And then all of a sudden, you're thinking, when that happens, you're like, okay, maybe we have a plan today.
I mean, first of all, we're lucky we got to see that goal, because it was a bit slow getting into the ground.
Once
we got there, the security there were taking their sweet time.
They were.
But I said to you as well, we were lucky enough to be there for the Leicester game together, and Harry Kane played that ball through to Bergwijn for the winner. This pass to Son was poetry in motion, was so much better, in my opinion. And then, like you, when someone threw on goal, I was so fixed on Son over there, I didn't even see Kulusevski. So when he squared it, I was like, what the hell are you doing? And then obviously I saw Kulu there, and he put it away. It was delightfully put away, but like you said, I think it's fortunate it went through the legs. Yeah. That could have easily been blocked, but it was a great finish, and it showed our intent
exactly
from get-go. And we've all been saying, just get off to a fast start. And it hasn't happened, and boy, did it happen yesterday.
And I think maybe that showed how much it helps when Conte has a full week with these players. Ken was saying it after the game, how they implemented a lot of stuff in that game that Conte's been training them on the pitch that whole week. And maybe we were a bit fortunate that there was no midweek game this week, because even though we got games in hand and stuff, we had a full week to train. Obviously, we're out of Europe as well, so we didn't have that. And this is the benefit of being out of Europe can give you, because the more time these players have with Kane on the Conte on the training pitch, the better it's going to be for them, because they're going to get fully up to speed with what he wants. And this shows. And obviously, I think that first goal was straight off the training ground. I think it was clearly planned. It was clearly something that they'd been working on, and they played it to perfection within a minute. What I would say is, after we did get that goal after 4 minutes, it was pretty much backs against the wall for the rest of the first half. I think that was, in the first half anyway, that was the really only moment we hurt them. And I would say, if we're looking at the game as overall, we much improved in the second half. But the first half, they did pin us in a bit, and they probably did deserve the equaliser when they got it.
It was coming. They'd had a couple of chances. They hit the outside of the post with, I can't remember.
Gundogan. I think Gundogan had all their best chances in this game.
So they had that opportunity, and they started pressing. And Raheem Sterling, who was coming down our side where we were sitting, started to be a bit of a menace.
Yeah, he was getting in behind a bit, but we were snuffing him out.
Yeah,
Romero was doing really good stuff.
Exactly.
But they were getting in very dangerous positions.
And it was coming down that side, and I always hate it when we start playing those shoot balls. You know, when you've been with me or anyone sits near, when Hugo Lloris starts putting those shoot balls, I'm like, oh no, here we go, because it's just. It just is nerve-wracking, but we were holding our own. We really were. Like you said, they were putting their foot on it. They're literally ramping it up, and we kept biting. Romero, the way he sees the ball out, his power to just let it go out for a goal kick and everything is incredible. And we're doing it, and then unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hugo makes that mistake. And, when that happens, the ball comes in the box, Hugo spills it, falls to Gundogan, empty net. It's and you're thinking, I can't remember what minute it was, maybe 30th minute or so. You're thinking all that hard work we've just done defending that lead is all gone after that one mistake. And not only that, it's the continuing narrative, isn't it, from the past few games where we're doing okay and then it goes against us because of stupid individual error. And it was really poor from Hugo, you have to say. And it's not been a good look for him past 2 games now. We'll get into Hugo later. But that moment anyway didn't cover himself in any glory whatsoever. The cross. I think, funny thing is, against Wolves, he punched it when he probably should have caught it, and this one he tries to catch it. I think when he probably should have just got it away, got out of the danger area. I think he tries to hold on to it, and that makes him spill it. I also think Dyer might have distracted him a bit in front of him. That maybe contributed to it, and then it falls to Gundogan. They go 1-1, and then you're thinking, look, this is classic Tottenham. We crumble when we're under there, because City were putting us under a lot of pressure at that point. We were holding out, but we crumbled in the end. They equalised. You're thinking it's only a matter of time before City go and get the next goal.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we got home, or as soon as I got home, got into bed, matched the day, rewatched it, and do you know what? When you watch it on the replay, Dyer looks a lot more of a reason where that may have happened than when we saw it live, because you get to see it multiple times in the replays. Not saying it was Dyer's fault, and it's still a mishap from Lloris. But it must have caught his line of sight.
And I think he went for it, didn't he, Dyer? Did he go for it? And then he missed it.
I think he made a little attempt to jolt forward, and that may have done it. But
might have distracted Lloris, thinking Dyer's going to go for it.
And do you know what? It's the last thing Lloris needed after the Wolves game. It's the last thing he needed. And listen, the worst thing about it was this before half-time. You hate that cliche. It's the worst time. There's always a bad time to concede a goal. But at half-time, we're going in 1-0. Could have been pivotal. Thankfully, it turned out not to be.
It could have been, and it also, as I was saying, like it just plays on that narrative. Like Tottenham, whenever you put them under pressure, they're feeble, and also not only that, there's also this whole thing when Conte kept saying last couple of games when things go against us, we react very emotionally, and we react negatively, and we crumble a bit. And when something bad, like we've been doing, like for example against Southampton in the second half, we're playing quite well, we get the goal, and then all of a sudden we concede and our heads drop and things go against us, and then goes into the Wolves game and then negative momentum. You're what? And then once that goal goes in, you're worried that's going to happen again, aren't you? You're thinking it's Man City away. Yeah. We're under all this pressure. We've held out for till half an hour. Then we concede a goal through a mistake. Are our heads going to drop? That's the big question. And I have to say, I think we held out fairly well till half time. Then come the second half, I think we improved so much. So much. I thought we were absolutely brilliant in that second half. I have to say that.
We were. I mean, Stephen Flynn's right as well. He said that De Bruyne got in Lloris's way as well. So it was a bit of both. So it was him as well. So good shout there, Stephen. But yeah, going into half time, we were playing so well. Everything was going to plan and everything. And then obviously we conceded, which obviously dampened our spirits. But they came out the second half and really wanted to put on a performance and really wanted to right some wrongs. And like you said, I mean, it was quite a dull second half, wasn't it?
No, yeah, not far off. Like, I thought we were getting in a lot more attacking situations in the second half than we did in the first. As I said, in the first half, it was really just the goal that we scored and then we were penned in. It wasn't that. I think we were definitely finding a lot more situations to get forward and exploit the counter-attack. I think even before the goal, we had a couple of moments that the warning signs were there for City. I think Kane played Son in on goal, and I think Walker was able to just come round and stop him from. I think he got a shot in the end, but it went into Ederson's arms. But that was like a warning sign of like, okay, we are still looking to get goal. We're not just here to ride out a 1-1. We are actually going to look to score more goals. And obviously with the and then on the hour mark. Harry Kane again looked for that ball into Son in behind. Again, a City player comes back, but this time Sessegnon's backing him up.
Yep.
Sessegnon, that's why it's so crucial for those fullback wing backs just to be an option there, because if Sessegnon just isn't there, that goal doesn't happen. But just because he might not have the quality, just him being there, being an option, picking up the ball and then giving it to Son, makes things happen, creates space, and that's how the second goal happened. I think Kane plays a deep ball through, but he doesn't just admire his deep ball. He sees what's going to happen. He sees it's going to fall to Sessegnon, and he bolts into the penalty area on the blind side of the centre back. I think it was Diaz. Make sure that he's running on his blind side. Once Sessegnon passes it to Son, you see Kane. It's like a trigger for him. He's like, oh shit, Son's on the ball. Get into that space immediately. And then there was a pin-perfect ball from Son into Kane, into the central area. And obviously it's a clinical finish. You have to say, and that's harder than it looked, that finish.
It's an unbelievable finish. It's an absolutely unbelievable finish. But what I enjoyed yesterday, obviously seeing that live, but when I got home and I watched Alan Shearer's analysis on Harry Kane's performance, when you saw the running that he did, and he busted a gut to get back in after playing another incredible ball out wide and spread in play. And even Shearer said, "Do you know what? I knew he was going to score from the second he approached the penalty area, because he was on the blind side." He gave Laporte and Diaz a horrible, horrible time yesterday. And that finish was just incredible. The more you watch it, and where he opens his body to put it in the top corner, it's just a sensational goal. And we were saying, how good would it be for Harry Kane to get a goal at Man City, let alone that performance? But the goal was, he took it superbly well. Superbly well.
And to open up his foot on the half volley, to stick it in the far corner, I think is a lot. I think it looks like a simple finish because he's so close to goal, but that was very, very difficult. Ederson obviously didn't even move, and I think that was such a clinical finish right into the corner, and it showed that he still has those predatory instincts, even though he was pretty much our main creator as well yesterday. He still had that ability to get into the penalty area and make it pay when it mattered inside the box, like a true number 9. That shows that he's still that perfect hybrid for me of a creator and a number 9.
Oh, without that, I mean, the greatest thing about that yesterday was just seeing the passion when he scored. He knows what ground it was. He knows what happened in the summer. What a place to put a performance on that. But just his passion at scoring and celebrating those goals was just a joy to see. I mean, I know we're going to talk about him a lot later, but
we will.
It was just a masterclass from the man, an absolute masterclass.
So we get ourselves 2-1 up, and you have to say for about a 10-minute period, once we're 2-1 up, up until we get that goal disallowed, we are really actually on top in terms of chance creation. We had that brilliant the move you were talking about before, that brilliant one-touch move, which actually could have been one of the team goals of the season. Bentancur, who I'll talk about in a bit, but he around our penalty area, not afraid to let the ball run across his body because he's aware of where everyone is. Plays the ball forward, and then there's 7 one-touch passes in a row, very quickly up the pitch. One touch, like clearly movements trained by Conte. You can see how everyone was moving. Sessegnon was helping out. Bentancur followed up as well. He wasn't just hanging around the penalty area and sitting deep. He was following the pass forward, getting out wide, passing it inside to Son. He plays a one-touch through ball into Kane, and unfortunately his finish just hits Ederson's leg, but could have been one of the goals, one of the team goals of the season. That goes in. Obviously, we then have the goal that was ruled out for VAR with a very tight offside with Kulu, which, you know, it was a bit of a harsh one considering it was a bit early on in the move. But then again, he was one who did pass it to Kane, who scored. And that was also a great finish, we all got to say, from Kane, because he's got 3 players around him, and he's able to power it into that near post.
If you look at it, he actually missed the easiest one.
Yeah,
The 2 goals,
probably,
and the offside one, that was, and that chance, that was the easiest one for him after that great football. But yeah, I mean, Kula was unlucky. It was very tight, wasn't it? Well, when we all thought it was in and going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But that football, like you said, the football before, I remember us scoring a goal with that. Do you remember against QPR in one of Poch's first game, and Adebayor scored?
All right. Apologies, guys. We are back up and running. We were just going through a match review. We were talking about that period of the game where we had just scored. We were then on top, creating quite a few chances. All of a sudden, clear-cut chances. We had that great one-touch move, which obviously we played Kane for on goal, and he should have scored. We had the VAR goal ruled out, which could have been a massive turning point if that goes our way. And obviously, we fail to get 3-1 ahead, you know, going to the last 20 minutes or so. We still have that only one goal advantage, but it was a precarious. You felt like it was a bit precarious just because of the nature of our defence. But we were holding strong, weren't we, for those 20 minutes?
We were holding strong, but I must at one point, I think I said it to you or Ben, I looked at the clock and it was like 74, and I felt like 15 minutes had gone. It was at 76, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be an absolute."
No data again. Oh my God.
They're still like.
We're still live?
I think so. People, can you hear me?
Are we live? I think. Oh no, we're good. We're good. It's good. Sorry about that. We're fine.
So yeah, time was just taking so long, and then obviously we started getting towards injury time. We thought there would be a bit because a few people going down near the end, weren't they? We had Kane, we had Emerson, Dyer. So there were a few injury concerns, and then what normally happens in this game. I mean, I don't know, Simeon, before we go to if there's any other game in world football that has had as much VAR controversy as this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing in this game. So I will go into it in a bit, but you know, we have the VAR goal ruled out against us, and then first of all, I want to just say Lloris makes one of the saves of the season. I felt from Gundogan in the second half, which that save probably made up for his mistake at 2-1 up, one-handed curler from the edge of the box, and that's where their best chances came from. To be honest, I felt throughout the 90 minutes was usually got shots from around the edge of the area or outside the box because we were very, very resolute, very compact. We weren't allowing them spaces into the penalty area. Right. And although they might have had touches in and around the penalty area on the sides, never in the central positions. And all their best moments, if you think about them, were all either just inside or just outside the box. None of them near to goal.
No, you're right. And I can remember. Do you remember the huge sigh of release when Lloris got up? Because when he went down, we're like, oh no.
It was Galini coming on
after that save. And then, do you know what? When that happened, I actually realised for once it was us doing the shithousery. It's like, for once, we're doing it. We're doing it. Everyone's been doing it to us. But yeah, you can't take anything away from that save. That save was absolute. That's why he is who he is.
Exactly.
Every goal. Listen, any player on their day can make a mistake. But if a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's hugely magnified for obvious reasons. And seeing that Hugo had 3 on the bounce, technically, it weren't looking good. But that save is just why he's got a new contract. It's just why we love him. It's just why he's a World Cup winner, and he showed why he's number 1.
Yeah, and that save really that kept us in the lead, and then it looked like we were holding out really strong. It looked like we were defending. It looked like we were defending really well. I'm not saying City didn't put pressure on us, but which they did, but they weren't really. Apart from that one save from Lloris, he didn't have too many really big saves to make. I thought we were defending really strong. I thought Romero was anticipating everything. Dyer was leading the line at the back really well. He was. We looked so much more organised with him at the heart of the defence. Romero looked more at home with that role on the right hand side, where he could kind of do his thing, like his anticipation and his aggressive thing and interceptions and going for players, and then Dyer was kind of just there to mop up and there to make sure he didn't overexert himself and make sure he wasn't leaving too many spaces behind and stuff like that. And also I felt like with them two at the back on the ball, we were so much more comfortable playing from the back than we were with when Sanchez is there.
You know what, I heard I'm going to talk about Romero and obviously Emerson and Dyer. So Dyer, whether you're a fan of his or not, the one thing you cannot deny is the organisation improves tenfold with him there. His communication with the whole team and everything. You got to see yesterday the difference with that defence. Emerson, when he's not got Sanchez next to him, like people have been saying, because there seems to be a lack of communication or they're not on the same wavelength, they can't play together, and this game showed it. I think Royale had one of his best games in the Spurs shirt. And as for Romero, that is his position. I think we can clearly see now. When we signed him, didn't know a lot about him and thought he was coming in to be the centre-back of a 3 or one of the 2 centre-backs if we played a 4. But I think that right centre-back position is his own now. He absolutely bossed it from that position, and it was a great display. And even Ben Davies got a couple of great blocks in the first half, but those 3 look a lot more assured than when it's Romero in the middle, Sanchez, and then Royale. It was very well and disciplined and organised performance from the defence.
So, it's looking like a very uncharacteristic performance from Tottenham, holding strong, digging in deep. Looks like going into stoppage time, we're still in the lead, we're still hanging on, and then obviously the big question: how many minutes is going to be added on? What's going to happen? And then it's quite funny because the Romero handball happens. He doesn't give it. The referee doesn't give it. I didn't really have a good view of it at the time. And then obviously play goes on, well, blah blah blah, and then the play stops for the VAR check, and then as the VAR check is going on, there's the fourth official says 7 minutes added on. So you're thinking, oh god, if they score this, they're gonna have an extra 7 minutes on top of if they get a penalty now. So then they get their penalty. I think on reflection it is of handball. I thought initially when I saw the replay, I thought it deflected off his leg into his arm. That wasn't the case. It just hit his arm, and you have to say it is handball. His arm's high, and he is diving to stop the ball. But in those situations, unfortunately, you've got to be careful where your arm is, and if it has to hit your face, it does. But he's diving in to try and block the cross, and his arm is flailing. It's unfortunate, but I think you have to. In this day and age, you have to give that.
Oh no, you do. What actually concerned me with that is how it took VAR that long to pull it up and say, referee, go have a look.
Yeah, because you have to wait till it goes out of play, don't you?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, that part I didn't know, so that would explain that. But yeah, it was a handball. Like you said, when 7 minutes go up, you thought, oh, here we go. But you know what? I was thinking, Man City don't have a great penalty record. And also, they don't have a great penalty record against us. So I thought, you know what? This is another one where Hugo can pay back some of the errors he's made in previous games. But when you look back at it, it's a blatant penalty.
Yeah.
If it was us and we hadn't got it, there would have been absolute uproar. And I think that's with any team as well. And unfortunately, it just coincided with 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think we're all like, here we go.
Oh god, yeah, because you're thinking you're definitely going to bet like on City with 7 minutes, and make it, because obviously Mahrez puts the penalty away. It's a brilliant penalty. We have to say, top corner, great penalty, and you're thinking like, okay, the City have got 7 minutes. We've got 7 minutes to hold out for a draw here because City are going to be all over us. They know that Liverpool won early in the day. They need to keep that gap, and it's going to be all about Tottenham just being penned in, backs against the wall, and just grind out a 2-2. I'd obviously beat your hand up for a 2-2 draw at that moment. You're like, okay, we'll just take a draw, even though it's a bit disappointing to concede in the last minute. You take a draw. You would have taken a draw at the beginning of the game, but the way we again.
Before you talk about it, sorry, I just want to talk about that. But first of all, shame on Man City fans for walking out before. It was like a fire drill.
That was weird.
Way before the penalty, like 2-3 minutes before the penalty, it was like, oh, I've had enough of it. Those fans, and like that, they just pump up because they've got all this money in the world. They pump up because they've got Pep. But there are loads of empty seats at the Etihad once again.
Empty head.
The Etihad, yeah, let's call it the Etihad from now. But then literally they start walking out before the penalty's even given. I mean, just very quickly to talk about that penalty before we talk about the wonderful moment we're about to talk about. There could have been 3 goalkeepers in that net.
Yeah.
It was an absolute explosive penalty from Mahrez. So, yeah, but just shame on Man City fans, although they'll probably thank them after what happened next.
Yeah. And you're thinking, as we say, look, let's just hold out, get the 2-2. But the way we responded to conceding, we didn't want to leave that stadium with 1 point. We wanted 3 points. And I think we saw the forward play. We saw that with how we approached that game and how we approached the last few minutes. If you look up to the build up to the goal, it's actually brilliant build up again. Even though Man City, they're obviously looking for the victory, but we know that they're so desperate for a goal, there will be more space to exploit, and there was. Bentancur, I think, again, Kane's involved. He plays the ball out wide. Doherty plays it into Bentancur, who plays a brilliant flick over to Kulu.
Yep.
Kulu this time stays onside just about, thankfully. He's there on the right hand side. He uses his dribbling ability to maneuver a crossing position. He floats a beautiful cross into Harry Kane, and you're thinking Harry Kane actually on first viewing, he probably should be second to that ball, but that determination, that willingness to make sure he's getting in front of Kyle Walker for that header. He made sure no one else was winning that ball but Harry Kane, and not only to win it with the aggression, but to clinically put it into the corner. Ederson again for the second time, not moving, just sent everyone into bedlam. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. We had actually gone and scored ourselves in stoppage time after conceding in stoppage time, and like fighting back all these people who say our mental strength's weak and all this stuff. When we really came to it, we stepped up in that big moment, and I have to give massive credit to the team because they've come under a lot of criticism over this past week about those things: mental strength, heads dropping when things go against us. Again, that would have been a very no one would have blamed Tottenham. I mean, people would have, but like if we would have gone on to lose that game yesterday, people would have said, "Oh, you know what? We had a good performance and we were unlucky." No one would have probably blamed us for losing that game after how it went. But to actually have the mental strength to not let our head drop and to believe we can get another goal, and to not only do that, but the calmness in the final minute in which we built up the play and got into those positions and got into ourselves in a position where we can get the cross in, and then also for Kulu to put that pinpoint cross and Kane to head it in, it just showed that maybe there is a lot more character to this team than we think.
Well, do you know what? First of all, I don't know if the person's in the chat, but I saw a tweet yesterday that said this is a difference with Bentancur, because he could have easily passed the ball short to Doherty before clipping it over to go for the win and just play safe, and he didn't, and he got it to Kulu, and then obviously that cross, and like I said, the determination and the commitment from Kane to get that header on. And honestly, whilst that ball was in the air, it was like it was in slow motion, and then once Harry Kane got his head to it, my God,
unbelievable.
God, it really was. I mean,
brilliant
like you
header.
said, I'm one of the people, and I'll always say when I'm wrong, I have been criticising them heavily, or criticising elsewhere. But the mental strength of the lads that would all come into question now. They can't hold on to leads, and with these games in hand, the pressure getting to them, well, they hands up, they were bang on the money, and they showed everyone why this crazy football club and what it does to us and why we love it so much, because it was just extraordinary.
And just when you're at your lowest with this club as well, they seem to pull something out of the bag. And just when things are going well, they lose a game we don't think they're going to lose, and then they somehow, as soon as you think it's all over and as soon as you think, oh God, it's all gone, top four's gone, they turn up in a game like this and they get all 3 points. You saw the celebration from Conte after the game. He even went as far as to say this is one of the best group of players he's managed. I mean, he's such an emotional guy, Conte. Like when we lose against Muri, he's like, the level of this squad is very low, or it's not nowhere near what Tottenham used to be, which is probably still true. But then we have a game like this, he's like, this is one of the best group of players I've ever worked with. Yeah, these are the best people. I like Conte. He's so emotional, and that's part of his charm.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And then I saw a stat that was. Pep Guardiola has now lost to every single Premier League manager. Obviously, we played Ryan Mason in the Cup, but every manager he's faced in the Premier League, he's lost to. We just seem to have their number. It's extraordinary out of all teams. And there was another one that City have lost 3 Premier League games, and 2 of them are Tottenham. It's
incredible.
Who would have thought
I
it?
don't know how we keep doing this to them. Like every time they come up against us, like they have the possession, they pin us in, and yet we keep coming. We just make the most of the chances we create, and every time, like Guardiola must be sick of the sight of us at this point.
Big time.
He must be, and a lot of City fans get very frustrated when we're involved because they're just like, how can they keep doing this to us? These people, must be so frustrating for them.
They probably won't. They'll probably have no one in the stadium next time we come. We'll be like,
don't bother.
Boycott the game.
And every time it's late drama. Llorente's hip. You got. I remember Gabriel Jesus had a. Sorry, not Llorente's hip. The Sterling VAR, which they won.
Llorente's VAR as well, wasn't it?
The Llorente VAR. You got the Jesus VAR in the last minute, and then you got this one with Kane in the last minute as well. We just seem to have something over them, which is really strange. But again, to win that game like that in the last minute, and it fires us right back into the top 4 race. And it was just, not only was it a massive victory in terms of answering all the questions that have been asked of this team, and obviously, if we go and lose against Burnley, all that goes out the window. We need to build on this now.
Correct.
But I'm hoping that this kind of victory can help this team build up momentum and confidence going to latter part of the season and make them believe in themselves that they can do what Conte asks of them. They aren't good enough to put in these kind of displays and go toe-to-toe these kind of oppositions. And they should have more confidence in themselves rather than what's happened over the past 3 games.
If they're going to get confidence from anyone or anywhere, it's a performance like this. And we heard a stat yesterday as well, haven't we? We haven't dropped any point or undefeated outside of London.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Thankfully, all these games we've got Leeds, Burnley, and Borough.
Yeah, to lose outside London,
So hopefully it should be 3 wins coming up. But yeah, we see how the number. The other VAR we forgot to mention with them, all right, was at Tottenham, was the penalty they had in the 2-0 win with Mourinho.
That's right, yeah.
When Bergwijn scored his goal, but beforehand...
And then they missed a penalty, didn't they?
They did indeed. So VAR loves this game.
Yeah, for some reason.
Just as much as Tottenham.
But all the VAR this time went against us. Yep. And that's also what I have to say about my mentality. Like, we're 1-0 up, Lloris makes a mistake. We're 2-1 up. We have a goal ruled out for VAR and they get a penalty through VAR, and yet we still stuck with it. We didn't let our heads drop. We didn't let it get to us, and we still kept plugging away. We kept going, and we deservedly got all 3 points. We got what we deserved for how we kept plugging away and kept those concentration levels and the performance levels as high as possible in this game. And that's what Conte requires of these people, and that shows they can do it.
It does. And do you know what? There's another controversial moment that we haven't even spoken about, was the 4th official. When the goal went in.
Yeah, he's like, he looked like that.
He's like, oh my God.
I can't believe it.
It's just like, I know it's got a lot of traction on Twitter, but it doesn't look good, does it?
No, it doesn't look good. Maybe he had a bet on.
Or whatever. But maybe he had a win accumulator on.
Exactly.
But yeah, that weren't good. But yeah, getting back to us, it's got to be the biggest confidence booster of them all.
Yeah,
to
massive.
go in and say, right, you've got that, and it's back in our hands, isn't it?
Well, I think Arsenal feel the same. It's in their hands as well. But look, it cancels out one of the defeats of midweek. That's what it does.
Correct.
So it means that those two. Look, we had to make up those points that we had in midweek, losing Southampton and losing to Wolves. We have to make up somewhere. We've done it once, and now we have to go. Now We have to get points at one of Liverpool, Man United, or one of those games,
Oh, you're not
and then
asking
makes
a
up.
lot, are you?
No, not asking a lot, but that makes that. Well, I guess Southampton definitely it makes up for the Southampton
Yeah.
result. Wolves at home, that's a bit more acceptable because they're a they're a much better team. But Southampton, you can't be losing that game, so that cancels out that result. Wolves at home now, whatever, that is what it is. But that's exactly what it is. It puts us back in the conversation of top four. If we would have lost yesterday, we could have been 10 points behind Man United if they win today. With even though we've got 3 games at hand, that's 10 points, and that's a lot of catching up to do. But all of a sudden, with the win, 4 points with 2 games in hand, with them playing today, keeps us right in that conversation, and hopefully Leeds can do us a favour today.
Let's hope so. It definitely does keep us in the conversation. Listen, mathematically it's possible, and whilst that happens, it's always in the conversation. It's like you said, it's just how we deal now with Burnley and Leeds.
Exactly.
If we can get two back-to-back wins, then it just gets stronger.
And as we say, if we don't win on Wednesday, this unfortunately doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
We have to make sure we go into Wednesday full of confidence. And I know Burnley have just had a great result. They've just beaten Brighton 3-0. Weghorst is looking on form. He's looking great. But we have to make sure that we get the job done. No excuses. I don't care how well they're playing and how... I know they're fighting for their lives. They need points. They're in the relegation zone. And we know Burnley at this stage of the season usually step up.
Yeah.
That happens every year. They start poorly, and then when it comes to the business end of the season, they get the points they need to stay up.
Yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah. But I don't want to hear any excuses. We have to go, and we have to make sure that we're as aggressive as them. We're not being bullied. We're not letting the physical aspect of the game get to us, and we make our quality count. But look, we'll talk about Burnley later on, but let's talk about some super chats that we've been said before we go and look at how Twitter reacted
This will be fun.
to yesterday's victory. AT says, is it a bit worrying how important Dyer is for us?
You know what? This conversation is going to keep coming up. Because you can see, like we said, the main thing about what I think we took from him is that organisation, the communication. We've clearly seen that he is fundamental to that. His passing a couple of times yesterday was a bit sloppy, wasn't it? At points, but there's no doubt that defence looked a lot more organised, a lot more disciplined with him in, and maybe we have found the perfect position for him. The centre of a back three. He's obviously a well-experienced member of the squad now. He's been here for a good little while, and he seems to be thriving under Conte. So I don't know if the word worry is right, but I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I'm not worried that... Well, I'm a bit worried that we're relying on him, but I'm happy that he's stepping up and being the player that, we always hoped he could be. And I think he was brilliant. I think we just look so much more organised when he's in the pitch. When he's there. And it improves our defence. No fold. Tenfold, sorry. Studio Z says, hi guys, what a game last night. It felt like a well-deserved victory, but we need to stop making mistakes, and I hope this summer we can rebuild in areas. Yeah, and that's absolutely right. Even yesterday you could argue the goals we conceded were, mistake by Lloris, and Romero maybe could have done better with that handball. So that needs to be cut out if we're going to be serious going into the season. But I'm happy that unlike the past few games, we didn't let our heads drop and we kept plugging away.
Correct. There's nothing more I can say on top of that.
That was a real big positive yesterday. Bob Spur with a super chat. Big up Bob Spur TV. I'm imagining he was loving last night. He said yesterday was exactly the reason why I was totally against selling Kane, a world-class player who we should be building the team around. Big love. And I couldn't agree more. People thinking that we should have sold Kane and started the rebuild, I was never in favour of that. I was very public about how I was not in favour of that. And I think Kane, since Conte's come in, is starting to show, is starting to prove me right why I think we were right to keep Kane.
During that summer, I thought he was going. I didn't say I wanted him to go. I thought he was going. In fact, I thought he was sure. In fact, I gave a £50 bet with Ben that I gave to a mental health charity for me being wrong. But it's performances like that when you see why he's the best in the world. He is the best in the world at what he does. Yes, people will say Lewandowski, but Lewandowski doesn't have the passing range. He doesn't have the creativity. He is incredible, and it has to be built around him. It has to. And I'm sure, Bob, where you are, you absolutely love that. We thought your score prediction was going to be right at 2-1 at one point. We're like, finally, we're going to get a score prediction right. But you got the win, and it'll keep you happy. And I can't wait to see you on Tuesday, brother.
Definitely. Dark Sunji 21 says this City side was stronger than the 1-0 Nuno win earlier in the season. I'm sure. Yeah, I think he's right. I don't think City played terribly yesterday. I just think we concentrated really right in defence. We made sure that we made everything as difficult as possible. Everyone was on top of their game, and I think how we exploited them. Like, they always leave those gaps.
Yep.
This is nothing new. It's just you have to have the quality to exploit the gaps that we showed yesterday.
Yep.
And you need a player like Harry Kane who you can give it to, and he can make it stick, and he can hold the ball up. And when he does that, when he holds the ball for a sufficient amount of time, it allows players to get forward and pushes out the pitch and allows those runners of Kane and sort of Kulusevski and Son to get beyond the City back line, and he can find them and he can stretch the play. But it needs it's pretty much all built around Harry Kane holding on to the ball. And he's the only one in our squad who can do that against these kind of level opposition.
Well, yesterday as well, you also saw the return of the Son and Kane telepathic relationship. They were sensational together yesterday, but the difference I find with the first game of the season, whoever left the Super Chats bang on the money that it was a much better victory. But first game of the season, everyone's not match fit. Everyone's not. So it's a shot. I've got a very squeaky chair here.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
actually the table. I think it's the table. Maybe yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll stop it on the table. So I think that had a huge implication on the game. It was a great game on the first game, but I always said playing Man City at this time when they're in top gear, fully fit, and they're running like the well-oiled machine that they have been, this by far was a much better result and more convincing.
Yeah, definitely. 100% agree with that. Richard Blackdog, member for 18 months. Big up, Richard. He says, not had this much fun against City since Ricky Villa. It's been a long time. Oh, do you remember Crouch Away? That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
That was.
Getting top four. And you remember the Champions League quarter-final? That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So we had some good time at the Etihad.
That's it. Can we play them every week?
Exactly. Lee, Tottenham fan UK, says, Højbjerg, Cess were brilliant. Big thanks to Sai and Stel. By the way, I'll get into Sai and Stel. I thought they were brilliant yesterday. Yep. Great. If we haven't seen the watch-along highlights, absolute scenes. People falling over, getting injured. I think Stel was still recovering. But I actually think when it comes to Cess, he was our weakest player, I felt. I think he was the one who struggled the most. Not to say he was bad, just he was the one struggling the most, I felt, on the pitch, especially on the ball. So I didn't think he was brilliant, but I think he did step in for Reguilon sufficiently.
He did. It
was a tough game for him.
First of all, I think Sai and Stel, they need to come with a disclaimer for future watch-alongs, because it's scenes over here. It's an incredible partnership, and they do great things. Cess, I agree with you, but the one I want to talk about is obviously Højbjerg, who is my favourite player. He has been way off form, but I've seen a lot of people saying that they thought he was bang average yesterday.
Oh, really?
Bang average, and it's been on quite a few places on Twitter. And do you know what? The guy needed a rest. He had a rest, and he did everything that was asked of him. Everything that was asked of him. But there's loads of people on Twitter going, yeah, he was okay or whatever. I thought he was sensational yesterday. He really put in an all-action, determined performance, and that's the Højbjerg we know and love. That is the Højbjerg we know and love.
And one thing as well, just to talk about Cess, is he hasn't had too many starts this season, but he has started at home to Liverpool and now away at City, two of our best performances of the season. And I think he hasn't looked out of place in either of them. So you've got to say fair play to him, and hopefully that shows that he can be a very good option for us coming in for Reguilon if need be.
Well, you know what? Big fair play to Cess as well, because obviously he got hooked off after 26 minutes, which would have done his confidence no good whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, right, you're playing up against Manchester City, and you're gonna. And like you said, he had he had a much better game against Liverpool. But listen, out of that team, he was the most inexperienced. His career at us seems to be stop, start, whether it's the loan, an injury, Reguilon's form, or whatever. But every player yesterday did what they had to do. They all did what they had to do to get over the line. And it's going to only give him the world of confidence after the Wolves game, where he would have been shot of confidence. I think this one will give him the world of confidence.
I agree. George Paps 123, member for 17 months. Big up to you, George. He says, "What a win, guys! I'm buzzing. Come on, you Spurs. We're all still buzzing. My voice is." I like to say it's buzzing, but it's just about making it there. But look, yeah, I mean, I was just literally the whole way home. I was just smiling to myself by what I had just witnessed. I couldn't believe it. And yeah, it'll be a victory. Ali lives wrong with it. It was a Premier League classic. It was an absolute classic. Not just for Tottenham, but like as a neutral as well. You have to say like that was just a Premier League. It was one of the classic games. It was brilliant.
No, it had everything. I think the only thing it didn't have was a sending off. That's the one thing that game didn't have. It was a wonderful spectacle and like you said, it will live long in everyone's memory.
And screw in the tuna. Big up, Sai. He says, "Stel and Sai in." Big up to you, Sai. I have to say, great job yesterday on the watch along. And that moment, the funniest moment for me was not just first of all when Stel fell over. I thought that was brilliant. When we score, and so I was like, I can't do this to myself. I can't. I'm not gonna even look at that screen. Like I can't even look at the screen even after we've just scored the winner. And then it's like I can't do this.
And then you got Stel's falling over.
Yeah,
which is now a gif you showed me.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I thought they were great. If you can get a chance, go and look at the watch along highlights. All right. So that is the super chats. Now, let's get into Twitter. Let's see how the Tottenham fans reacted to yesterday's unbelievable victory on social media. So let's get that up now. So first of all, Hotspur Edition says, Spurs fans seeing Tottenham get bad everywhere they go at the end of the game was quality stuff. And yeah, we were joining in on that as well. And I thought that was very, very good. I was enjoying that as well. That was a lot of fun. Danny Aaron's, he must be a FIFA YouTuber or something. He just says, best in the world. Everyone waxing lyrical about Harry Kane yesterday, and deservedly so. This was one of my favourite clips as well. Poetry in motion. This is Antonio Conte with his celebration. I thought it was one of the best things I've ever seen. When comparing him to Pep Guardiola, that was absolutely brilliant stuff. It was absolutely fantastic. I thought Antonio Conte. Tottenham do the double against Man City this season, and they're from BR Football. There's Son and Kane who do, especially Son, definitely has something against Man City, does he? He loves a game against Man City. He didn't get in the score sheet, but also got 2 assists, and he really ran them ragged.
I heard it as well that I couldn't believe it was Kane's first goal against Man City for about 9 games.
It was ever since they played, since Pep. Since Pep. He hasn't scored against Pep.
Did he score in the 4-1?
That was not Pep.
Oh, was it not Pep?
That was Pellegrini.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So that was, first game since the return game of that season.
Okay.
When you remember Eriksen scored the winner. He scored a penalty earlier in that game.
Right.
So that was first goal against City since then, but fair play. Tottenham's last 6 Premier League games against Man City, 4 wins, 1 loss and a draw. That is, can we play you every week? Unbelievable. Record we have against Man City, but most of them, to be honest, have been most of the wins have been at home. But there you go, there's an away win there as well. Alistair Gold says Tottenham have beaten Man City 3-2 at the Etihad, and they utterly deserved it. Tactically disciplined and lethal on the attack. Much of the defending from their back three was top draw.
Yep.
Absolutely spot on from Ali Gold. Extra Inch says that was an imperfect performance. City make it so you can't be perfect. They apply pressure, they leave you one option, and even that one option is difficult. So of course players look scruffy at times, but the tactical discipline, the concentration, the work rate, unreal.
Bang on.
Yeah, and I think he's bang on about what he says about City. Like, they just make it so hard for you that it's impossible to make it impossible for you to have the perfect game. But we did as best we could to do that.
Yep.
I thought they're spot on. Matt Law says everything will be about Harry Kane, and understandably so. But Eric Dyer is absolutely huge for Tottenham in Conte's formation. He's become a really key player again. Pleased for him, and he's one of the good guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously his relationship with fans or whatever has been very topsy-turvy, but
Kane's or Matt Law's?
No, but when it's talking about Dyer.
Oh, Dyer's. Yeah,
It's
true.
about Dyer's.
Yeah.
But again, we spoke about it today. It just goes to show whether you rate him as an actual defender or not, what he brings to that defence as a unit is certainly something we desperately need.
Yeah, 100%. And he's that more experienced leader that we definitely need in the back line, 100%. George Achillia, big up George. He says Kane was next level today. Romero so solid and one of the best signings for a long time. Decky with an unreal first start for Spurs with a goal and assist. Happy days. Yeah, Kulu deserves a lot more praise, doesn't he? I thought it was a really great start for him under Conte. To get the goal and assist away at City in your first Premier League start shows what you can bring.
And it should have been two, or could have been 2 assists. But yeah, I was very impressed with him. The first couple of games, he looked a little bit slow and off the pace a bit. He grew into the Wolves game in the second half, but that was a great performance.
I think he brings a bit of composure in that final
Very
third,
much
like
so.
compared to Lucas, who's always rushing things. It feels like Kulu seems to be able to pick out the right option, knows what he wants to do with the ball. And I like him when he's dribbling with the ball. He seems one of those players who's quicker with the ball than without the ball.
I completely agree with that. Do you know what? And this comparison has been used by a lot of people. When you talk about his lack of pace, and I've said it as well with his lack of pace, but Teddy Sheringham had a lack of pace, but an incredible footballing brain. And he seems to have that. So anyone that you can compare with Teddy Sheringham, and please God live up to that, we'll all be very happy with.
Exactly. Spurzo says that smile, he's one of our own, and that is quite the smile.
Yeah,
Look at
it
that.
is.
Absolutely love that. Love that smile, Harry Kane. And it was very similar to that smile he had at the end of the Leicester game as well, when he just couldn't wipe it off his face.
Yep.
After how it ended. And that was also off the back of a brilliant individual performance. And
That
I
was
think
indeed.
yesterday, another one. Paul O'Keefe says that there's no in-between with Tottenham, is there? It's literally all or nothing with their performances, and they were unbelievable tonight.
Never have truer words been spoken.
Literally
in
the
life.
extremes Tottenham
Yep.
put you at. Unbelievable. This man right here, he's one of our own. Another brilliant picture, him embracing Højbjerg. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. It's a great picture, isn't it?
It is. It really is. It's just, and do you know what?
I can't get enough of this content of Kane celebrating.
No,
and
but do you know
I can't
what?
get enough
What
of
I
it.
loved as well is he was literally celebrating an RI line, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He literally, in the section we were at, it was right by the corner flag, and if you look where we were sitting right at the top, it was in line with that. It was, it's just wonderful things to see. Wonderful.
Harry Kane tweeting himself says, what a game, what a win, proper shift from everyone, love it. Big up to Harry Kane, what a performance. Statman Dave says Dejan Kulusevski has directly been involved in 2+ goals in one league game for the first time since July 2020 when he played for Parma against Brescia.
I can't remember who I was talking to yesterday. I cannot remember who it was, but someone kept saying to me about when he was at Parma.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to look at him. And
Yeah,
how
that
good
was when he was at his best, yeah.
And I didn't know a lot about him from his Parma days, but I've heard that mentioned a lot. So hearing that stat that it was the last time he did it against Parma, obviously, let's hope it's the first of many.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, didn't have the best of times against Juventus. You've got to remember, he went there as a teenager. He's
Yep.
still only 21. And I've seen many players who don't quite early on make it at big clubs, but then they move on, they get more playing time somewhere else, and they turn into unbelievable
Yep.
world-class players. Like it happens time and time again. So just because he didn't have the best time at Juve, I wouldn't.
No, not
Yeah,
at
at
all.
21, I wouldn't discount him, and he wasn't even that bad anyway at Juve. I didn't think. Little Laurie says, "Where are the haters now?" And that save was the save from Gundogan, which was one of the best saves of the season for me, and that was just a picture of it. Absolutely made up for that mistake in the first half of that save, I think, and obviously helped us come away with 3 points. And yeah, he deserves credit for that
does
save.
deserve credit, but what I don't like when people do things like this is, and they're each to their own, but it's not where he made 3 mistakes, and when they make 3 mistakes or a mistake, we are allowed to criticise them and say, listen, that was a Hugo Lloris error, that was a whoever
enough.
error. But when he makes a save like that, like I said before, we all know how good he is. And that's why when he makes a mistake, and especially being a goalkeeper, which obviously they get magnified, I wouldn't say that. I don't think there is a Lloris hater out there. But yeah, it was a great save. It was a great performance apart from that error. And he deserves the credit just like he does the criticism.
Fair enough. That's fair. But I think. Do you think he made up for it in the end? Would you say that? Yeah.
Listen, that save. What was it at the point? 2-1 at the time.
Yeah, I
wasn't
think it was 2-1 at the time.
I mean, listen. If we go back in like even the beginning days of Hugo, he single-handedly won us points. Single-handedly, like Ferguson used to say. Schmeichel used to save him like 9 points a season. Hugo by far was doing that for us back in the early days, and he's been doing that for his whole career. But goalkeepers do make mistakes, and like we said, they are magnified. But his saves are extraordinary. His shot stopping and his reflexes are just incredible.
Yeah, absolutely right. Kuti with the Instagram post saying, "Heart and claw, we continue like this. It's only up to us. Let's go." And I thought he really stepped up again yesterday. I thought it was another impressive showing and another display of what he can bring to us.
100%, 100%. Mate, you're stealing my words.
Apologies. Mark THFC7 says, "Say what you want, run from it as much as you like. This guy is absolutely inevitable. He boils the piss of every single fan in the Premier League, and I absolutely love it." Harry Kane.
We are very, very lucky. We are very, very lucky to be watching what we are watching with this man.
Is there a man who's made as many fans eat their words as much as Harry Kane has?
What, in our club or in general?
Both.
Oh, I've just made that question myself.
Like he's like, people, whenever he goes on a bad run of form or whatever, people always doubt him. Like beginning of the season, people saying, "Oh, he's doesn't look the same Harry." I mean, he didn't, but like people always saying like, "Oh, he's finished. He's past it. He doesn't have the legs anymore." Those accusations have been, even at, he proves everyone wrong time and time. He scores 20 goals a season on a consistent basis, and still, whenever he hits a bad run of form or a bad patch, people always like, "Oh, he's never going to get back to his best." All these kind of things. His legs are gone. He's getting too old or whatever it is, and he keeps having to prove people wrong time after time after time. And he's not the player he was at 21. Who is when they're 28 or 29? But he's evolved, and he's just as effective, and he's just as good as he has been.
In all honesty, his goals aren't as high as they were last season. We all know that, and there's obvious reasons behind that. But this guy can still turn it on and do that. He just needs the help and support of people upside to chipping alongside him, and with Kulu passing balls to him like that more often,
and a manager on his level,
there's
and then he needs as well.
That is a very good point. But he needs the support around him, and we just got to monitor, because when he went down with it hurting his back, where everyone was like, "Oh, not now." Not
true.
now. And thank God he stayed on the pitch, because obviously he did what he did. But this man, we have to appreciate this man, because he is absolutely outstanding. There's no other words to put it. Listen, I hope he stays one more season. I think he'll stay one more season. He's going to get Greavy's record. He's going to be the England record goal scorer without a question. And it will live on in history for that.
Brian, right now he's on 7 goals in the Premier League. 15 Premier League games to go. What do you think he finishes on?
15 games to go.
He's on 7 right now.
I'd say minimum double it.
Minimum
Double it. I would want to say more, because we know when Harry Kane goes on a run, he could get back-to-back hat-tricks like he's done.
He's happened before, hasn't he? He's done it before.
He's done it before. But you just got to look, and I keep using this one. When we came second, and he was 2 goals behind Lukaku before Leicester, then he scored 4, and then he scored a hat-trick within 20 minutes, was 5 ahead of him within a game and a half.
Yeah.
This is what this man can do. So I would say minimum Premier League-wise, he'll double it.
Okay. Your favourite Yid says, "Never disrespect the Viking." Absolutely right. But I think he was spot on. I think he was brilliant yesterday. And I think, again, another player who has come under a lot of criticism, and some justified, but he hit back, I think, yesterday with a brilliant performance. And I think he was in the middle of the park. And he was that aggressive player that we've maybe been missing in the past game or two, or definitely last game, where we couldn't get past Ruben Neves and he was just dictating everything. It showed how much we miss Højbjerg in the middle.
Do you know what? I don't know if people will agree with me in the chat with this, but I say for Son and Kane that they are overplayed and undervalued. And what I mean by undervalued, I don't mean contract. I mean the amount of games they play with no rest, no nothing, and the fact that they're humans, the risk of injury, fatigue, everything. And I stand by that with Højbjerg. This guy, if you look at his first season, pretty much played every single minute of every single game for us. Certainly in the Premier League he did. Then went on to the Euros. then had to go through the ordeal with Christian Eriksen, then came back to training 2 days early, then just started playing non-stop again. This guy just does not stop. He needs a rest. Don't get me wrong, I've said all along he is my favourite player. If we can get an upgrade on him, there's no time for sentiment anymore. If we want to win things, you upgrade him. But yesterday's performance is what he is capable of, and it just shows how clearly he needed a rest.
Definitely. Richard Jolly says Pep Guardiola is the only manager to lose to Tottenham under Pochettino, Mourinho, Nuno Espirito Santo and Antonio Conte while in charge of the same club.
Yep.
Brilliant stuff. Love that record so much. Pep just must be so sick of Tottenham. Doesn't matter what manager he comes up against, he always struggles for some reason.
It's mad, not just for us, but it's mad how these bogeys, like Chelsea are for us. It's crazy how these things just start and carry on for ages, and long may it continue with Manchester City.
Yeah, definitely. Charlie Lloyd Thomas, amazing performance, organised, quick on the break, belief. We even looked like we enjoyed defending. Kulu was superb, physical, good finish, passing and crossing. Bentancur was key too. Dyer, massive.
Every single word back. Who was it that said that?
Charlie Lloyd Thomas.
Charlie, well said. Well said. That was bang on the money.
Harry Kane, Romano tweeting Harry Kane's relationship with Conte is understood to be excellent and more than special, as Antonio wants him to be a key part of the Spurs project. And let's be honest, does this Antonio Conte project work without Kane? I don't know if it does.
I don't think any project. I mean, obviously there will be a day where Harry Kane is no longer a Tottenham Hotspur player, obviously. But right now there is no player. He's not just a key part. He is integral. He is the part. We have to build this team around him. He is our strongest asset, and you have to build to help your strongest asset shine. And he is fundamental to anything we're able to do.
I completely agree. Ice cold Spurs over there from Kulu, slotting it in between Cancelo's legs. Nice finish there. Did very well to do that. Premier League panel say, handball aside, Christian Romero showed how he excels in the art of defending. Man City consistently attacked down the left with Sterling and Cancelo, but Romero's reading of the game to sweep behind Emerson resulted in so many crucial tackles and interceptions. He's a top-class centre-back, and that is absolutely spot on, because the past few games, and we've had Sanchez on the right, haven't we, with Emerson, and that has been a area of the pitch that both teams have consistently attacked down and consistently targeted. And when Romero's gone over there, all of a sudden that side of the pitch looks shorn up again.
What I've said is he makes the hardest things look so easy. I don't know how he does it. Obviously, he's a world-class or soon-to-be world-class footballer. Because we put them on that world-class level very, very easily. He's got the potential. What is he, 23? He the things he does, just even if it's, like I said, showing a ball out for a goal kick when there's people pressuring behind him, his anticipation, and like this guy said, the reading of the game is second to none. Can you imagine if we had a prime him and prime Jan together?
Oh, that would be unbelievable.
That would be like, because then you'd have that left footer.
No, it's just the tables.
We've got to invest in a new table.
Oh, we back? No, we're not back. Yeah, are we back?
I'll move it.
All right, we're back.
Just say
Apologies about that. Yeah.
Just say about Romero, the things that man can do, and he's only going to get stronger. He's only going to get stronger. He is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
All right, let's keep going. Sunday League Hipster says Man City just can't handle North London teams. Tottenham took 6 points off them this season, and Arsenal pressed them really hard in the first half once.
I saw that one. I was laughing.
That was brilliant. Yeah, because Arsenal fans were mad about how they played well for 45 minutes against City. And which they did, but they ended up losing. And
didn't do it for 180,
didn't do exactly, having taken 6 points off them. Cuti Romero as well on Instagram saying thank you to Harry Kane, thank you my friend. Love that from Cuti. HLTCO says every year you see people saying that Harry Kane's game is waning, and every year he puts in performances like today which make those people look like muppets. Like or loathe the bloke, he's a top player and always has been, and that comes from a Palace fan.
This just goes to show. I mean, if you look at it over the previous years up until this year, every single target he's probably been set, he's hit and smashed, and he's never ever let us down. All right, you can say at finals sometimes he hasn't turned up, but over the season, he's the reason why we've got to these finals or these semi-finals. He deserves a huge amount of respect, a huge amount of credit, And yeah, he may not get the goal tally that we would have thought a typical Harry Kane season would be, but when you see his overall game, it's a joy and a privilege to be able to say, as I get older, that I was there when Harry Kane was doing this. He is incredible.
People saying it's his best ever performance for us.
Ever?
What do you reckon?
My God.
Some people say it's one of the best ever striker performances in Premier League history. Individual performance. That's what some people are saying.
There's 2 new shows in itself.
That's right. That comes from Rory, from the Chelsea guy, Rory Jenny. He said on his video today, he thinks that was one of the best individual striker performances in the Premier League era.
So there's 2 that come to mind with me. Not saying that they were better, but
Because you've taken quality of opposition.
Well, when I think of Harry Kane, whenever I think of Harry Kane and top-notch performances, the very first one was his first North London derby, where he scored that header. And that header still, to me, is my favourite Harry Kane goal, just for the manner of that header. And then you look at the Chelsea game.
5-3.
5-3. I mean, that was when nobody even knew what this guy was capable of. And Chelsea were then runaway. So it's up there. It's up there. I can see why that person said it's up there. But for me, as soon as I think Harry Kane dominant performances, they are the very first 2 I think of. What about you?
I think honestly, I thought the Leicester performance the other week was one of his best individual. I thought that was one of his best ever. I thought yesterday definitely up there. Last season, I thought Southampton away when he got 4 assists and a goal. I thought that was one of his best ever individual performances as well. Chelsea 5-3 has to be up there. But then there was all there's so many. There's so many in the last season of White Hart Lane, I thought.
We just put it in the comments as well. Steve Combo was saying, this is probably his best overall performance because the 2 games I mentioned, it wasn't about his passing or his creating or his and all of that, which has developed within his career. Those 2 games I mentioned were just about his goals, weren't they? In Chelsea, he did have a great game. So do you know what? I may have to start using this one or Leicester, like you said.
Yeah, because these performances now are just so complete, aren't they?
Yep.
They're just so he's creating, he's goal scoring, it's unbelievable. So yeah, look, they've got to be up there. And Premier League panel says Kane is unstoppable in that type of form. He was linking play like a number 10 to start counter attacks through the middle, but also showed his number 9 instincts in the box when Spurs got the ball out wide. Complete striker performance.
Yep. There's no one. I don't think if anyone says that wasn't a complete performance, then who knows what they deem as a complete performance.
Yeah, honestly. And then there's someone complaining here about the 4th official when he looked disappointed with Tottenham scoring. I think maybe people were reading too much into it, but he did look a bit disappointed, I must say. Can't look at these because copyright. Tottenham tweeting out people just living in the moment, and this was obviously look at all the bedlam behind Harry Kane. Absolutely love that picture. Look at all those Spurs fans just going nuts. Fantastic stuff.
If that's the bottom tier, we were going just as mad in the third tier. I can tell you that.
Absolutely right. Yudo 90 says Bentancur on the ball for 80 minutes was awful, but F me did he put on a shift, and that is the difference between winning and losing games. Last few minutes didn't do the easy pass like what we've had from our other centre mids. Pass put us on the front foot and we score.
That might have been the tweet that I was talking about when I said that about the pass to Doherty.
Yeah.
It may have been that exact tweet. But yeah, I mean, we were saying in the second half he was giving the ball away quite easily in the just.
He was,
the area,
but off the ball, I still thought he was brilliant.
And you know what?
He made some brilliant sliding challenges.
That's exactly
as well.
what. Again, you're stealing.
Sorry,
I'm joking. But yeah, he's got a great art to the sliding tackle. So composed with it. So composed.
Okay, Opta Joe says Harry Kane's winner for Tottenham, timed at 94-25, was the latest winning goal scored against Man City in the Premier League since Michael Owen's famous winner for Man United in September 2009.
So another record that we can take from them.
Yeah, very, very late winner against Man City. Then Footballer Footy Accumulator says, can we just appreciate how good Harry Kane performance was? One of the best performances of the season. And Harry Kane's getting a lot of love from a lot of people.
Yep.
And then Usman Talks United says Spurs done the double over Man City whilst Arsenal had a parade for losing 2-1. Absolutely brilliant. Sky Sports Data says man of the match Harry Kane, 38 touches, 3 in the box, 20 out of 29 passes completed, 1 chance created, 3 shots all on target, 2 goals, as many as in his other 13 appearances against Man City.
Yep.
Wow. Romero, all about Argentina, tweeting out saying Cuti Romero, first in accurate passes, first in clearances, first in headed clearances, first in accurate long passes, and first in interceptions. Great performance from Cuti.
With those stats, you can't really... phenomenal performance, phenomenal.
Troll Football says Pep Guardiola after Spurs did the double, did a league double over his Man City side. That's very funny.
Very funny. That's brilliant.
That's done me.
That's
brilliant.
We saw Gareth as well, who's a friend of ours. He took his son to his first away game yesterday.
Yeah.
What an away game to go to. I think his son's
Unbelievable.
about 8 years old.
Yeah. Oh, unbelievable.
What an experience for the young kid.
Okay. Pep was steaming. The Trunk says we look so much more confident with Eric Dyer back in the side. Higgy Hotspur, Dyer and Romero, immense, but Kane just delivered one of the best individual performances I've ever seen. Big up. Yeah, there we go, Gareth. As you were talking about, there you go. Heading home. Thank you, Manchester. It's been fun. Fantastic stuff. We saw him yesterday at the game. Gareth, some great pictures there. Hope they had a great time. I ran into Paul Robinson as well. Big up, England's #1.
Was he there?
Yeah.
I love
The
Robbo.
pictures didn't really show up. Tottenham Hotspur tweeting out record equal Tottenham and Huminson level the all-time record for Premier League goal combinations between two players.
They'd beaten it last season. I don't know why I thought that.
I think they'd beaten it for an individual season.
Okay, maybe that
was it.
That's it. Yeah. So. Look, what great company that is to have Lampard. And again, they said this on Match Today yesterday, and they said this team, they've done it without winning a trophy. So how unfortunate is it? These two need... There's a lot of players in that team that need to... We all want a trophy, but these two go, with Hugo, to the top of the list of deserving a trophy.
Albinio says, Spurs have scored 10 goals from their last 18 shots on target against Man City. That's a pretty clinical record.
That is, yeah.
That's pretty clinical. Yeah, Spurs view says that Harry Kane performance was a lesson in how to be a modern striker. Clinical, bloodthirsty, elite vision and passing and taking the game to City on his own at times. One of the best individual performances by any player in the Premier League this season. Mark says, can we talk about Kulusevski? By the way, he may not be the quickest or the most pleasing on the eye, but he put in a shift today and picked out a quality cross for the winner. Lucas and Bergwijn wouldn't have found Kane in that situation. I think that's definitely true. They wouldn't have. How many times have we seen Kane and Lucas or Bergwijn putting a cross like that?
Yep, no, you're right. I mean, with Kulu, we've got that bit of creativity as in to get the final ball in, as opposed to just dribbling and trying to find space. He was so assured in crossing, wasn't he? Even for the offside goal, he looked pinpoint. And we've been saying we need someone with a crossing ability because it's been so lackluster, and it looks like it could be Kulu.
Brian Daigle.
Yeah, there's a comment on there because there's on that where someone's saying, you know, the West Ham or the Battered song.
Yeah,
I can't remember the words, but I think it's on there. But he changed it.
What, City get battered when Tottenham are in town?
Yeah,
City get battered when Tottenham are in town. Tottenham are in town. I love that.
So that's how we're going to have to adopt it for all away games.
Definitely.
Well done, Ben, brother.
Love it. Apparently, Højbjerg boying off Conte when he goes for a hug. Walked off straight off. Conte didn't seem too happy about that. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I absolutely love that. Again, from ALHTCO says, I understand players wanting to win trophies, but this assumption that footballers' careers are pointless if they don't have medals by the time they retire gets on my tits. If Kane stays at Spurs forever, he'll be their record goal scorer and have a statue and the lot. I mean, we don't do statues, unfortunately.
We don't get into statues. That's a whole. But yeah, listen, as I was just saying before, if you look at it, how close is he now to Greece's record?
He's getting there. Yeah.
I mean,
I think he's 30 away or so. Around.
It's definitely another. It's definitely another season. Listen.
Yeah.
We all want Harry Kane to win a trophy. We all want to win trophies. But if Harry Kane can go down as Tottenham Hotspur's greatest ever goal scorer and England's greatest ever goal scorer. I don't think anyone is taking either away for a very... Look how long Greaves he's had. I don't think there's a striker that's going to just come across and just take it away very, very easily. And for England, look how long it took Rooney to get above Bobby Charlton, and Kane is going to smash Rooney's record to bits.
Yeah. Oh,
absolute.
Yeah, he's going to kill it. He's going to kill that.
So I think that English greatest goal scorer one is going to stay for a very, very long time, as well as Tottenham Hotspur's greatest goal scorer. And those are two things that he can never get, or no one else can ever take away from him at one point in his life. He will go down in history.
Jay Just Juve, Grand Bappe himself, just with the eyes emoji after Dejan Kulusevski put Tottenham 1-0 up after 4 minutes. Big up to you, G Just Juve, Giuseppe, big up to him. And I think that is that for now. Maybe let's check quickly. I think Bob had tweeted us. He says, yo, Burnley game absolutely massive now, not only to keep up with top 4 fight, but to show some consistency and not have the shitty game as a one-off. It's definitely going to be wet and windy. Over to you, lads. Big love. Come on, Bob. Big up to you as well. Let's hope that we don't, it's not a one-off, and that this is it for now. Hopefully we can find our consistency. Just been tagged in this post. Harry Kane now 2 goals behind Thierry Henry and 3 goals behind Frank Lampard in the scoring charts. Do you think Kane will break the all-time record by Alan Shearer? He's under 100 away now from Shearer. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does. If he stays at Tottenham, he will.
If he stays at Tottenham, Joe, if he stays at Tottenham, and it's going to sound stupid, but if we get another striker to help him out, and I mean that's it, we don't have to over-rely on him, and he gets his obligatory injury where he's out, then it's very, very doable. Very, very doable.
All right, that is it for now for all of the tweets. Thank you everyone for sending in your tweets and everything. Is there anything more you think we should be reacting to? Let us know, and we'll bring it up later. But let's start getting some callers on. Let's start getting some fan reaction from the fans about yesterday's unbelievable victory. And we'll start with Mikey. Hello, hey, Mikey. How are we doing?
I'm all good. Sorry, on the Wirecast rendezvous, the video has actually been stopped for about 15 minutes now, so I can't actually see myself how you see me. I can only see a blank screen, but I can hear you guys. So
you're all right. We can see you and hear you. You're fine.
That's good. Yeah. So I think yesterday the performance was absolutely amazing. I think we executed our game plan to perfection. You guys you guys have said that quite a lot, that we stuck to our game plan. Obviously, there's a lot of positives to take from this game. Obviously, Hugo dropping 3rd error in 2 games, that's a little bit of a concern. I hope it doesn't, hit his confidence too much, because if we're going to be in the hunt for top 4 again, if this game is to propel us, because we need that sort of spark to propel us on if we're in the race for top 4, and we need Hugo to be on his A game for the rest of the season if we are to push forward and get that Champions League spot. So I hope that his error doesn't shake his confidence so much. But moving on from that, I think Conte executed the game plan to perfection, and we thoroughly deserved that win. VAR obviously came to haunt us yet again by giving them a penalty and taking away our goal. I'll say quickly, this isn't what VAR was brought in to help referees when they get it wrong, not to rule out marginal goals based on 1 hair width offside. That's not what VAR was brought in for. But at the end of the day, I'm still happy because we beat Man City in their own backyard, and I'm very pleased with that.
And people waxing lyrical about Harry Kane and his performance yesterday. Where does that rank for you in terms of his individual performances?
I think it's definitely top 5, but I remember his 4-goal haul against Leicester. That comes to mind. Obviously, his derby game where he scored that header that Brian mentioned. And there's definitely other performances that have caught my eye, but like in terms of him stepping up when we needed him most, that was honestly, I haven't seen quite an impact by a single player. I'm not saying he dragged us because the whole team performed admirably yesterday. Obviously, apart from Kuti's handball and Hugo's error, both of their goals came from not chances that they ended up creating themselves. If we go on merit alone, we should have had a clean sheet against them. But obviously, them scoring 2 goals, you're never going to shut out Man City. You're never going to get a clean sheet against City. Like I can't remember who it was said, man, the way they play, you're never going to have a perfect game against them. You can just try and win, and that's what we did. But Harry Kane's performance yesterday was absolutely insane. His all-round game was on point, and it seemed like everything he touched turned to gold. And the old saying, Pep Guardiola calling him the Harry Kane team, well, shut up. Shut up. So I'm so happy that the whole team put in such a shift. Bentancur really impressed me. Kulu really impressed me. I think obviously Reggie out with COVID. Cess has come in, and I wouldn't say he had an amazing game, but he didn't do anything wrong. I don't think he was very good, and obviously Harry Kane, Son, Kulu, just the whole team was the whole team. I'm sorry, I haven't seen a performance like that. So I know the Leicester people will talk about the Leicester game, but that was against Leicester. This is against the runaway champions. We've reignited the title race and perhaps set up. And Harry Kane has set up the most exciting end to a Premier League season you're likely to see for a few seasons. Obviously, the Liverpool Man City title race might stick long in the memory, but this has definitely opened up not only the race for the title but top four. And if we'd lost today, I think you probably could have counted us out of the race for top four for now, at least, unless other teams around us started to. We would have to rely on other teams losing before we had a chance to get back in. But with this win, we've sent out a statement, and I'm literally begging. I'll be on my knees in front of him to back Conte in the summer, because he's delivered 2 games of world-class moments already. He's given us Leicester, he's given us Man City. We've had a famous draw against Liverpool where we should have won. But if we can, we're such an enigma. I don't understand how we can lose 3 in a row against. All right, Chelsea. We never win against Chelsea. Fair enough. But to lose a game like in the manner we did against Southampton and put in one of the shittest performances I've seen in a while against Wolves, and then to come and do this, I can't put into words how much of an enigma we are. But I don't want to get too carried away. It's still only 1 win in 4 games, and we're coming up against Burnley. I'm not going to take anything away from that game. It was sensational, but we're still coming off 3 points out of 12. So we still need to push on and not regard this performance as well. We've done this on merit. We'll win against Burnley. We still have to put in that shift. We still have to put in that performance. And I'm hoping that Harry Kane will break. I was just looking at the list of Premier League goal scorers. He can overtake, Lampard. He can overtake Henry, maybe even Aguero if he gets, maybe even Cole. Aguero if he gets 11 more goals in the final games. If he scores at that rate, he might even overtake Aguero. But I see him overtaking Rooney, but Shearer's record might be a step too far for Kane, but if he gets it, I wouldn't be surprised.
There you go. But Mikey, I just want to ask you, you spoke about Sessegnon. What did you make of the rest of the defenders' performance? Because it was a fantastic organised display, don't you think?
Eric Dyer it's not a coincidence that we lose 3 on the bounce without him, and we come in and we produce one of our best performances of the season. It's not a coincidence. I'm not saying Eric Dyer is a world-class player, but for us, his importance can't be overstated. The organisation and the leadership that he brings to that back line, Ben Davies can't do it. Romero hasn't been there enough to know the ins and outs of knowing how to do it. Davinson Sanchez is nowhere near that. He's the only player we have of his kind that can slot into the middle centre-back role. Obviously, his passing is up for debate. He's not pinpoint like Toby, but it's still good enough to say his pass covering is enough that we can have him at the centre of I'm way more comfortable when it's him at the center rather than Romero, because I know Romero is a better defender, but you put it right when you said that him moving out to the right, Davis on the left, and Dyer through the middle. They haven't played together as a three, I think, only once before Romero got injured, and then Romero came back and Dyer got injured. So seeing our first choice centre back trio playing together and winning at the Etihad, I think that shows on a fully fit team. Just adding Reguilon back to that team, it would definitely give us a good platform. And Bentancur was good in the midfield. And I just want to give a shout out to Emerson. Obviously, his crosses, I think he misplaced 3 crosses in the space of like 5 or 10 minutes. And I commented on one of your stadium highlights, and I was like, God, he's such a liability. But attack going forward, he's diabolical. But I would say that Emerson probably had a good enough game yesterday to. I mean, he starts over Doherty. There's no question about that. But just the whole defense yesterday, I was so impressed. And Hugo making that Gundogan save makes up for his mistake. Obviously, if he doesn't save that, they go 2-1 up, I think, or they come back to 2-2 earlier in the game, and then they'll bombard us, and we won't get anything out of that game. So I'm just so pleased with the whole unit of a team, the way they stood up to Man City and said, you can come at us, but we're going to repel you. It reminded me of when they absolutely thrashed us. I think it was Mourinho. It might have been Bergwijn's first game when they absolutely hammered us tooth and nail, and then they got a red. Then they got a red card, and we went on to win. I think we seem to have Man City's number, and I think it's just countering on them with pace. Deny them the space that most teams sit off Man City. You deny them the space that they want and counter on them with precision. And if you have a player like Harry Kane dropping into the false 9 position, and you have runners like Son, by the way, Son again, what is it with him and Man City? Does he have some kind of I think Son, when Son heard Pep Guardiola call us the Harry Kane team, he went, and I took that personally, and he just haunts Man City every time. I remember at the beginning of the season, I saw a tweet that was like, Man City have now passed off their 3 greatest threats: Chelsea, Liverpool, and Heung-min Son.
That's brilliant.
So yeah,
that's brilliant.
All right, Mikey.
I'm so happy with the performance, and I know there's a bunch of people waiting to come on. I just hope that we can kick on, because it would be so Tottenham to win like in such a fashion and then go and lose to Burnley. Like, they're just off the bottom of the table. We need we need to keep up our consistency. Don't forget, we're still only 1 win in 4. I'm not putting the damper on last night, but it is only 1 win in 4. So we need to push on. And in the long run, it's 1 win out of how many other games that we need to win. So I think in the long run, we do need to keep up our consistency and actually push forward, and hopefully, of course, win our upcoming North London derby, whenever that day may be. Come on, you Spurs, and I hope the other callers are given as much time as I was.
Nice one, Mikey. Good to see you as always, man. Thanks for calling in.
Right,
We'll speak to you very soon, man.
Have a good one, mate.
That was Mikey. Let's read some super chats before we get into the next caller. Aaron Dub. Just a donation to the rebuild the studio fund after Stell smashes it up after celebrating. Much appreciated, much needed. Bob the Barber says, just another donation for better internet from your Austin, Texas fans. Love you guys. Keep up the great work. Thanks a lot, Bob. Faz Radfar says, Delhi was poor for Everton. Glad we ended his contract. Yeah, they lost 2-0 to Hampton. Another poor performance from them. There's a name in Korean, I can't really read it, but it says Harry Kane. He's one of our own. Thank you very much for the super chat. And Air A says, keep both Juve guys in the starting lineup. Come on, you Spurs.
I think they have to.
Yeah, you think after yesterday that showed exactly what they can bring to us.
Or especially maybe when we go to an Anfield or an Old Trafford or whatever, because obviously you got the equation of when Ollie Skip comes back, what do you start doing? but I think it's looking very positive with those two together.
I agree, and they're definitely bringing something to the team that we didn't have before.
Correct.
In those positions. Let's bring on Ryan Isaacs. Let's bring on Ryan.
My partner in crime, how you doing, brother?
Oh, is he on
You're
mute?
on mute.
There we go.
There we go, Ryan. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Buzzing, absolutely buzzing still. That game was just mental. Up there with Leicester.
Go on, Brian.
Up there with Leicester. I think I put this one highly just above Leicester, just because of who it was and where it was, and more importantly, Harry Kane scoring at that ground was so instrumental. It was music to my, or not music. Yeah, it was music to my head. It was music to my eyes as well, if that's even a thing. But yeah, so you're putting Leicester just above it, or where are you going with it?
I've said Leicester mainly because of the fact we were losing. You know, it's in stoppage time. The scenes on the pitch at the end. I've even come out and said I didn't celebrate the winner because I thought it was going to be ruled out for offside. So there's that and everything. But I just want to say a special mention. I know Kane's going to get all the plaudits, thoroughly deserved. Højbjerg was the best player on that football pitch, without a question. Without a question.
Why'd you say that, Ryan?
He was a bulldog in midfield. He was absolutely everywhere. 94th minute, you know, or 96th, 97th might have been, when we're winning, you know, running down the touchline, almost breaking through to grab a fourth for us, you know, wins the throw. The little bit, you know, the tackle on De Bruyne, taking one for the team. That's exactly what we've been asking for how many years, you know, be that streetwise, be that smart, clever, take the card, get everyone back in position. We haven't done that enough. Be that little, be cute, you know, as Mourinho would say, you got to be nasty to win. Nobody wins if you're nice. And I think we saw that a bit today or yesterday with Højbjerg. Romero's going to be good at that. We're slowly creeping up there again. For the game yesterday, we were out the top four race. There was absolutely no chance. Winning at City has just brought us straight back into it.
Ryan, you know what else as well, mate? And we spoke about it a little bit earlier, me and Simeon. For once, it was us doing the shithousery. We saw Wolves go down. Wolves, yeah. They were absolute, but I haven't seen Spurs act like that. Like they were going down, there was time wasted. It's about time Tottenham Hotspur started doing that in some places. To, like you said, like Højbjerg do, just calm it down and stop the pressure. Were you impressed with that yesterday?
I was thoroughly impressed. I kept pointing it out. You know, Lloris got a yellow card for time wasting after 80 minutes. At first, I thought it was Romero because I thought Romero had already been booked. So I thought he was going to be getting a second yellow. And I was thinking, you just got to be smart when you do it. Don't, you know, take the sting out of the game when it's necessary. Kane going down, obviously we know it wasn't that serious. He stayed on, got the winner. But yeah, overall it was our best performance this season without a question. Again, because of the opponents, just unbelievable. The scenes at the end, the limbs, it was just unbelievable. And another point, if Eric Dyer's not on that plane to Qatar, there's got to be something very, very wrong, because I don't know. He's going to be in the next England squad. There's just no question.
Yeah, people weren't saying that, beginning of the season, but a lot of things have changed, haven't they? And what do you think it says about, you know, our mentality of the way that we won that game as well against the league leaders? There were many occasions yesterday where maybe in other games we would allow our heads drop and let the occasion get to us, and feel sorry for ourselves when we're leading, and then we're being pegged back and all this kind of stuff. But we kept plugging away. We didn't let anything get to us yesterday, and every time we got a setback, we responded. And what does that say about our mentality, which people have questioned at times this season?
In recent years, we've actually, you know, if you go back to the Pochettino era, how many times we came back and scored late on. We do have it in us. It's not a mentality issue in terms of scoring late goals, because any side can do that. We always score late. We quite regularly. Look at this season: Watford, 96th minute; Leicester today. We do grab late goals. It's the mentality part of getting into those situations where we're not necessarily needing those late goals. Like, you know, we're grinding out wins against Villa. Look, it's difficult, with Tottenham at the moment. Like, I'm just so much on a high. I'm just so happy with the performance. I'm buzzing still. Just
You're going Burnley as well, aren't you? You're thinking, what do you
Going
reckon?
Burnley.
Exact same team? Depending on the injuries, obviously, we don't know what Emerson's got.
You can't. Yeah. There's a few injury worries. Royale looked to maybe have come off slightly injured, which is why Doherty came on. Kane, obviously, he's obviously fine. He's going to play. I'm still waiting on, hopefully, Ollie Skip to come back, because I think he just slots straight back in there. And that'll be interesting to see when Ollie Skip comes back. Does Conte stick with the 3-4-3, or does he go to a three-man midfield like he did at Inter Milan? So that will be interesting to see. Personally, I prefer three in midfield. Gives us a bit more stability, where you can play Bentancur as an out-and-out 6 and just push Skip and Højbjerg just a touch further forward, just to because we know Skip and Højbjerg even do have that passing range in them. But yeah, look, overall it was a 10 out of 10 performance from all of them. Royale was very, very good. His best performance in a Spurs shirt. And Romero is a Rolls Royce defender. There's no question about it. He's 40 million, and every penny has been worth it. He is a top class defender. He is honestly. There was a debate going on Twitter, about who's the best out of Toby, Jan, and Ledley. And I'll tell you what, give it a year or two, and he'll be in the same debate as those three, because he is just different gravy.
Yeah, he looks different class, doesn't he? I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more Romero. Yep. But Ryan, great to have you on. Thanks for calling in.
My pleasure.
It was a great call, and look forward to seeing more of you, hopefully. Definitely.
See you later on, buddy.
Yeah.
Cheers, Ryan. Thanks a lot for coming on. A lot of happy Tottenham fans this morning, that's for sure. Another super chat from Billy Hudd. Big up, Billy. Yes, one Billy Hudd. He says, one of the best away days. Hope you lads are well. We're doing very well. Thank you, Billy. And thanks for the super chat. Big up to you. It was good to see you yesterday.
It was indeed.
Bad news coming from Elland Road, though. It's Leeds 0, Man United 1. Currently.
Bad news. I was like, what are you going to say? Okay, who scored?
Harry Maguire from a corner
Christ.
has scored for Manchester United. So they currently lead 1-0. Actually, nearly 2, but Sancho just missed a chance. Approaching half-time at Ellen Road.
They're in trouble.
So Man United currently, if they hold on to this, will be sitting 7 points clear of us, but we will have 3 games in hand. So we'll hope Leeds can do us a favour, hopefully,
Well,
today.
what time did that game kick off? 12:30?
No, that kicked off at 2.
Okay, so it's fairly... Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's quite early on. So it's approaching half-time there. Still 1-0. Let's get Big Mike. Let's get Big Mike on the channel. Yes, Mike, how we doing, mate? You all right?
What's going on, boys? You good?
Yeah,
good,
look.
man.
Come on, what a win that was yesterday. One of the best we've had in recent years, for sure. What was your reaction to events unfolding last night?
Just scenes, absolute scenes. Obviously, we started off bright. Couldn't believe it. Tear the house down. Then, obviously, you realise there's still 85 minutes, 90 minutes to go. And you're thinking, right, you know it's coming. So, yeah, it was just scenes, up and down, great performance. Dagging in the first half. And then, obviously, for me, yeah, a little bit disappointed with Hugo. I feel like he should be dealing with it. And I think he realised that. And, he came out in the second half and, showed his mentality already. So just to kind of help answer Mikey and the first call, that I think Hugo already bounced back in that game. Mid-match, bounce back mentality-wise, made a big save, claimed the ball, held it down, all the dark arts, to see the game out for the win. Obviously, they equalised, and we go up again in the second half of brilliant football. And when we went 3-1 up, I went mad. I turned my house down. I thought we won the game. Obviously, I've gone away. I've come back to the screen, and then, they're checking the VAR. And I couldn't believe how far back the run of play was. But, looking at it, I have to be honest, I do think it was offside. I think it was probably, it was tight, but, we have to accept the lines are the lines. They are what they are now. So, I accept that. And then, the penalty, Romero, it's a handball for me, 100%. I don't think we can say it's not. And what a finish from Mahrez, I can't deny it. Absolute stunning penalty. And I was just sitting there thinking, right, 2-2 at the Etihad, let's just hold out, we'll take it. But the boys said, no, we're not going to have that. Literally, I nearly turned away from the TV. I saw we got to throw him, and Cancelo didn't control the ball, and it just stemmed from there. That flick from Bentancur to Kudakeski, you know, these two signings for me already looking like, you know, what a bargain we got for them, in my opinion. They're coming in this game. Kuda crosses it in. Kane scores the header, and I've got damages in my house. Let's just put it that way. It's all a bit crazy out here, man. It went a bit mad. Absolute scene. So, come on, you Spurs. Long live Conte. That's it.
What a difference he's made, hasn't he, Antonio Conte? And look, what big questions have been asked about Tottenham in the last week or so. 3 defeats on the bounce, a lot of mentality questions. You know, when something goes against us, we let our heads drop and we let the games get away from us. And a lot of those questions have been asked definitely recently. And even Conte says, you know, we get too emotional when something goes against us in the game. But, you know, yesterday, everything went against us. Whenever we took the lead, Lloris makes a mistake. We take the lead again. VAR decision goes against us. We know we're holding out for a 2-1 victory, and then VAR gives a penalty to Man City. So everything's going against us, and yet every time something went against us, we didn't let our heads drop. We didn't let the occasion get to us. We responded positively every single time. And you think hopefully that's exactly what Conte is looking for when in terms of Spurs reacting to things going against us.
Yeah, I mean, the reaction was sensational, but it's about doing that every game. You know, it's every single game has to be intensity, desire to win. You know, the die-hard attitude, like he said. I think somebody said his name even means like to win or die or something. Antonio Conte's name in Italian or something, direct translation. So you can see it really. It doesn't surprise me at all. And I think Fabrizio Romano might have said that. I could be wrong, but you know, you can see that kind of inspiration that he brings to the side. I wrote the game off. I think every single Spurs fan wrote this game off. I didn't even want to watch the game, but through thick and thin, I can't help it. I have to watch. I have to be there with the boys, and the fans. We're always with them, and that's what we get. You know, we've been fully repaid in our faith in them. All the traveling fans just must be absolutely buzzing. I mean, if I was at the game, I would have been tearing it up at City. You know what I mean? I would be having a good time up at there. So, you know, we smash it. So the mentality is good for the game, but I want to see it over the whole season. I don't want to see it in 90 minutes against City away, 90 minutes against City at home. I want to see it against Burnley now. We should go on to smash Burnley 2-3-0. There should be no excuses. We have the quality. So as long as we match their work ethic, we should be dominating them in the midfield, in all areas of the pitch. So beat Burnley, and I think is it Leeds after or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Just go on and win these next 2 games. Yeah, Leeds away. I think that'll be, you know, they're both tough games. I'm not saying they're easy, but we need to rise from this. We can't just let it be City and then, you know, top 4 race is over again, because it could be that way if we don't pick up, in my opinion, the 3 points in the next 2 games. And then I think, is it United next or something? So
yeah,
Everton, I think, isn't it?
Everton.
Is Everton? Okay.
Middlesbrough in the cup, then Everton.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. So look, all those games are tough, but the next 2 games are really important. So yeah, carry that mentality on. Back Conte, get behind him. I mean that from the fans now as well. I've seen the fans. I think they're trolls, to be honest with you. I don't even think they're real Tottenham fans. I think any real Tottenham fan is not criticising Conte. You can see what he's doing here. We have to go through this painful rebuild. It's happening, and it's all about getting through the season. Hopefully we can challenge for this top 4. With a little bit of luck and the right performances, we might get it, and then back it right in the summer. But even if we miss top 4, we still have to make the right decisions in summer. We still have to try and get the best possible players in, and as long as Conte approves of them, I think you can see with Bentancur and Kulu, he will get something out of players that he believes in.
So Mikey, I was going to say to you, we spoke the back 5. Is that the back 5 you want to see going forward, or would you swap anyone, especially with Reguilon fit? Would you put Reguilon back straight in, or stick with Cess?
I think Reguilon has to come in. I think he's better than Cess. It's just a bit unfortunate, but I think there shouldn't be any stick for Cess yesterday. I think he did what he had to do against a very hard opposition, or arguably one of the best sides in the world. So I'm going to give Cess the credit that he deserves for the game, and I think he does give us good cover option for Reguilon if he needs a rest or if he's injured. So but Reguilon has to be starting, I believe, for me personally. But it's up to Cess to prove me wrong. You know, can he prove me wrong? Obviously, Conte took him off the game before, and you're probably thinking we're not going to see him, but you know, put faith in him, and he played what 70, 75 minutes of a really tough game. So yeah, my hat's off to him. Backline, Ben Davies, Romero's. We need Dyer, 100%. That's proven to me now. Dyer's pivotal. I never thought I'd say it again, but I mean, he's the epitome of Tottenham in a nutshell. You know, up and down sort of career, I guess, if you will. But hopefully it's on the up to greater things now with Conte. So yeah, I think that back three for the rest of this season, we go forward with that. And I think, you know, you'd be looking at probably replacing Ben Davies maybe with a strong left-footed centre back in summer. And then definitely we need the right wing back. No disrespect to Emerson. His crossing for me is abysmal. He needs to be in training every day, whipping that onto a sixpence. I don't know what's going on. He needs to. If he can improve that part, I think we've got a player there. I think he's a good defender, good engine, up and down the pitch. But come on, you've got to be able to put in a cross. We need it. So yeah,
Mike. Some people are saying this is Kane's best ever individual performance in a Tottenham shirt. Some people saying it's one of the best ever individual striking performances in a Tottenham shirt. Where does it rank for you?
There's so many to choose, so it's going to be hard for me to say it's his best ever performance, but it's what I'm used to seeing of Kane. This is what I want to see. He is the complete forward. I've seen it for a long time. You know, I remember the goal he scored against Arsenal with the Zorro mask scenes on that day. So, you know, he's always put in these magical performances, these goals. I mean, that goal against Leicester a few weeks back was it Leicester? I think he scored the first goal where he just wrapped his foot around it, top right. You know, this guy's got quality. So I'm not surprised that he had a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 performance, probably you could argue. But the players around him really helped him shine today. Kulu has to get praise. Son has to get praise. Bentancur has to get praise. Højbjerg did his job, exactly what he needs to do on the tin. You know, even Eric Dyer, just that calmness from the back, being able to actually bring the ball from the back against Man City, I didn't see it coming up. We had no fear in the last sort of two games at least against Southampton and Wolves. We were playing with so much fear. Yep, and we look like we just shook that off. That's totally gone. Conte rubbished all that nonsense, and to get the result after all of that, that's not Spursy. You know what I mean? Everyone's saying Spursy things and stuff, but we're actually going through a transition where Conte's beating that Spursy kind of mentality out of the team, out of the media. It's going to take time. We need more performances like this, but if we can kick on, if we get top 4 this season, who knows what's going to happen next season, honestly.
All right.
The
Big
Tottenham
Mike.
ride continues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The journey goes on. Big Mike, good to see you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Big up, lads.
Great
Come
call,
on, you
man.
Spurs.
I'll speak to you in a bit. Come on, Big Mike. Big up to you, man. Great call from Big Mike there. Approaching half-time still at Ellen Road, still 1-0 to Man United. Let's bring on Dan THFC.
Yes,
Dan, how are we doing, my friend? You all right? Good to see you.
I'm doing fantastic. You guys know how much this game means to me. Because
oh, yeah, your dad's a Man City fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
So what was his reaction yesterday?
Come on. My dad was so confident before the game, and then after that, I just don't know. After the first goal, I was just speechless. What a day, man. These are the moments when people ask you, why do you support Tottenham, man? Like, why do you put your pain through this? These are the moments why I do this.
Mm-hmm.
These are the moments why we love this football club. Oh my God, man! I love this sport, bro.
You just know sometimes these things can be around the corner, don't you? These moments.
Yeah, twice a year when we play City.
Your dad must be sick of the sight of us right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but look, what a performance yesterday! Stepping up when we really needed to as well. Who were the standouts for you? Who really impressed you?
Obviously, the obvious one would be Harry Kane. Oh, it's 3-0, Man U.
It's 3-0 now.
2-0.
2-0, yeah. Bruno Fernandes just scored.
Well, the obvious standout was Harry Kane. And then Son Heung-min, every time he plays against Manchester City, has a blinder. Kulusevski, the new signing, had a great performance. Pretty much everybody had a great performance. Hugo messed up in the beginning, but then after that, with the Gundogan save, he made up for it. Emerson Royale, before we scored the first goal, was looking a little sloppy with the ball, but after that, he looked decent as well. Still wouldn't have him in the starting 11 and after January. After the summer. We should have already bought in a new right wing back. It doesn't matter to me. He's not quality enough for us to be challenging for the top 4. And then Sessegnon was the only one that was a little iffy. Obviously, Reguilon has COVID, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when he comes back, we're gonna have a quality left wing back. But still, it's not a bad second choice to have Sesson Young. He's young. The only thing is that he doesn't. He's like worried with the ball that he's gonna lose it. That he loses that fear. Then we got a quality player on our hands. But yeah, the man of the match for me, no question, Harry Kane. But it was a fantastic performance from everybody today.
Yeah. What does it say about Harry Kane, the way he put that performance in away at Man City? People say he doesn't turn up in the big games. People sometimes say, criticize him, saying he hasn't been on it this season and maybe he's waning. But what did yesterday's performance say about him, do you think?
He's a top quality striker. I think, in my opinion, that was the best Premier League striker performance of all time.
Whoa.
That is, yeah, it's just that high. I mean, Harry Kane yesterday was like unstoppable. Every single opportunity. After when he was holding his back, I had my heart in my mouth.
I think we all did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at the same moment Romero was holding his ankle or something. But I was just Harry Kane is just different quality, and I'm so happy we kept him. I'm so happy we didn't sell him to Manchester City. And I said in the beginning, it would be so good if Harry Kane scored against a team that undervalued him in the summer, and he has done. And yeah, I mean, seriously, what a performance! What a performance!
So Dan, I haven't spoken to you. We spoke a little bit on WhatsApp, and obviously I'll be on the channel with you when I get back to Canada next month. I know you love your Italian football. So what's been your impressions of the Kulusevski and Bentancur since they've arrived?
Well, yeah, they've been absolutely fantastic. In Bentancur, ever since the Brighton game, you could see the quality that he has whenever he touches the ball. It's just that quick feet that he has that he gets away from defenders like if it's nothing. Kulusevski, we haven't seen him really at his best until yesterday because that performance is just different quality. But I mean, give him 90 minutes and he can do that. He can do that. Another thing about Kulusevski that I've noticed is that he's a very humble guy. You know, like when he scored the first goal, he didn't even run around. He just he went out with Son Kane, gave him a hug, and then when he crossed the two balls to get to score the goal, he just turned around and walked back to the defender's spot. He didn't even go to celebrate with the team. So he's a very low-headed guy, and Bentancur, obviously, the quality that he has is undeniable. But I'm really happy with these two signings.
Yeah, and obviously Kulusevski yesterday's first start in a Premier League game with one goal and an assist as well right at the end. Do you think he showed a bit yesterday maybe what he can bring to the front three that we don't already have?
Yeah, definitely. I was very pleased with his performance. Lucas Moura, he's a good player, but there's some attributes that Kulusevski has that Lucas Moura just doesn't have yet. Like crossing the ball. What I saw from Kulusevski yesterday was just quality, and I honestly saw Son and Kane as Harry Kane dropped back like when we had Mourinho, and then Kulusevski and Son were just making the runs. Like Mourinho when Kane was having all those assists with Sonny. That's pretty much what I saw yesterday. But the unity of the squad was just so good to see, and I'm so happy with the mentality that we've established.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's something that's been questioned. What do you think yesterday has done for our top four chances? Going forward this season, because they looked to be on the ropes, didn't they? After the two defeats in a week. But what's that done to our chances, do you think?
The thing with us and top four is that until we win those games, like Burnley, like Wolves, like Southampton, I can't say we're favorites to get top four. But the other thing is that the other teams around us, like West Ham, Manchester United dropped points before. They are dropping points. Arsenal, they're not going to drop points, but we play them soon. So it's all about the other teams dropping points and us keeping up our form. And if we get the points against the teams that we should be getting the points against, then I have no doubt that we'll get the top four.
It's been one of those seasons again, hasn't it? Where when we do pick up points, everyone else is picking up points, and when we drop points, they're dropping points like it did a few years ago. So yeah, these two next games are crucial, aren't they, Dan?
Yeah, definitely crucial, especially since we play Manchester United right after.
Yeah, which is going to be a very, very big game. Dan, great to speak to you as always, mate. Thanks for calling in. Great to speak to you.
Take care, Dan,
especially after a great game. And we'll speak to you very soon.
All right. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
You Spurs.
Come on. Cheers for calling in. That was Dan THFC. Let's keep going. We've got Barry.
Barry, Nick, Phil, Grant.
Let's go, Barry. How you doing, mate? You all right?
It's happened again. It's happened again. Manchester City. It's happened again. So, boys, first of all, I need to make an apology because I predicted we were going to lose 3-1 on the show on Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, last night I changed. So I took on Iggy's advice about being positive, and I said 2-2, there will be VAR controversy. I was sat here in the 93rd minute going, I wish I was bloody wrong and I hadn't have called it 2-2 and VAR controversy. And then, oh my God, there was lucky we had our dinner because it would have gone everywhere after what Kane did. It was absolutely incredible. So, for all those that were saying, let's be positive, that's my public apology. So I know Aravin's in the back room or he's just popped off, but big up to him and all those that were being positive. And I don't think I'm going to get as much heat as Stel might because he's certainly going to have the heat coming to him for the next few days on all the streams.
He's nursing a knee injury, I think, after yesterday. I can see. So
I think it was his back as well. He said his back more than his
oh
knee.
dearie me, he's going to have to come in a cast next time he comes. But what was it? What was the big difference, do you think, yesterday? To maybe other times we've played the big teams and winning away from home against City as well. How did we do it?
I think, look, we were sat there. I was getting abuse from Leeds fans, from Man City, they're amazing. You're getting battered and everything else. But I think the key yesterday was at the key points in the game. Everyone stepped up, right? Because Højbjerg gave the ball away, Bentancur gave the ball away. There was that, there was everyone. There was times when we did things that was that we were kind of like, oh God, kind of those types of moments. But actually, the key moments, the key passes, we won them. Yeah. So 72% possession that Man City had during the possession, during the times that we had. During the chances that we had, we were clinical. And that is what was the difference yesterday. Yep. Yes, we knew Man City were going to come at us. Yes, we knew they were going to dominate possession. But in the key moments, everyone stood up. Hugo with that save, that was a key moment. It would have been 2-2. They would have probably, come and hurt us. Key moments. We don't get down. We go up the other end when they come out at half time. We go 2-1 up. We get the third one. Okay, it was offside. We then, they get the penalty. We think, Christ, that's it. And then we just didn't stop fighting. And that was, I think we had a point to prove after what happened against Wolves and Southampton. And I think the togetherness in the squad. If you look, obviously you could see it where you guys were with Sonny and Kane and everyone celebrating. But from us watching it on the TV, the happiness and the togetherness between those two in particular shone through. Their interview afterwards, they were just smart. That smiley face of Son is back. Yep. And we haven't seen that in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
What was your thought on Højbjerg? Because Højbjerg seems to be the one where everyone's talking, was it a good game, was it a bad game, or an average game? Where are you on the fence with the Højbjerg performance?
If he wasn't there, those chances, those spaces that Kane could drop into, they wouldn't have happened. If Winks was there, that was, there's no way anything like that would have happened. So, like everyone said, we all said he needed a rest. He had that rest and came back and, he gave the ball away a couple of times, but so did everyone else. There wasn't you're going to do that against the top teams. You're not going to come and have your best game, well, apart from Harry Kane, obviously, yesterday, but, not from 1 to 11, no one's going to have their A game at the same time. So, for me, he was incredible yesterday. And just at the end, when he You know, he was running up the pitch. In the 96th minute or however long that fraud of a ref was playing. He was fighting. He then held it back. He drew the foul. And he ran back and he put a shift in. Absolutely put a shift in.
Do you know what as well? You say, Sean, you mentioned Harry Winks' name. So, do you see now with the performance of Kulusevski and Bentancur, with Højbjerg's good performance or great performance, with Skip to come back, do you think we may have seen Skip start a game for the last time, let's say this season?
Look, I don't think he comes straight back in as he would have done in the past, right? But I do think he will start. He will start games and games that because we've seen if we give these players the rest and rotation, then that's going to play into our hands and in terms of our performance. So I think he will start games, but he's not going. How long do we know if he's going to be back? It's probably going to be another 2 to 3 weeks, maybe longer. So, and then by that point, we're going to need him to start. So. Yeah, I think he will start, but it won't be a case of, if he's ready for Burnley, which I don't think he will be. If he's ready for Leeds, I don't think he'll start.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how if Bentancur and Højbjerg now become proper preferred.
Maybe Borough,
yeah,
like the cup game or
I think they're going to have to be, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because Bentancur showed his class, even though he lost the ball a couple of times. He showed his class off the ball and on the ball for a lot of the times. And what did you think about some of the football we were playing in transition on the counter attack yesterday? It shows what can happen when Conte gets a full week with these players, isn't it? And maybe yesterday was a bit of proof of what being out of Europe can do, because if we were still in Europe, we would have had to play on Thursday, and maybe the performance on yesterday might not have been the same standard.
Yeah, so look, it was, the counter-attacking was almost as good as the counter-attacking that is, 3, 4, 5 years ago. The Kane and Son, that pass straight away, from Kane to set up Sonny. And, the last few weeks, maybe Sonny would have taken that on himself and not had the vision to look up and pass it across to Kulu. Kane's distribution, the last 3 or 4 weeks has been incredible. And it was, but it also meant that, we also had to think, Bentancur's chip over for the third goal, Cess being in the right place at the right time, which I think, Reggie, with all his, with all the positives, he's not necessarily in the right place at the right time. If Cess wasn't there, that goal potentially wouldn't have happened. Kane's vision to hit the ball and then go, right, it's gone up to Sonny, I'm getting in that box. And there was no way, and like Shearer said on Match of the Day, there was no way he wasn't scoring that second goal, because he just ghosted past everyone and just, and the finish. The finish was almost as good as Mahrez's finish for the penalty,
Agreed. So this question we've been asking everyone, it seems. So let's go. It seems to be a good talking point. Where would you put that in Kane's overall performance tier list? Where would you put it for yourself?
Top 5.
Okay.
I'd say. I wouldn't start going. I'm not going to start going crazy and saying, "Oh, it's the best performance ever." Because he's had some fantastic performances, but top 5 definitely.
Top 5. Okay, so which ones stand out for you? So if you don't give all 4, but the first 1 or 2 that comes to your mind when you think Harry Kane world class performances.
Well, I think Dan mentioned. No, it was Big Mike mentioned it. The Arsenal goal and the Arsenal game when he, with the Zorro mask. I think that was probably there. So, I mean, maybe I'm doing him a disservice. Maybe it's top 2. I'm gonna reevaluate.
Brilliant. All right, Barry.
Nick,
great.
Phil, Grant, Sean.
Whatever you go by. I'm going to go with the name that's on the stream. Thanks for calling in, mate. Call as always. Good to speak to you. And let's do this. Come on. Let's move on. Nice one, Barry. Good to speak to you, my friend. Let's get Ave Master on.
My man.
Big up to you, man. How you doing today? I think you're on mute, mate.
What? Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You're right. You're right now.
I'm doing absolutely superb, lads. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're still buzzing from yesterday. Not gonna lie.
Jet lag from the coach ride.
Didn't get back till quite late last night, but too busy celebrating. But how did you react to events yesterday?
Well, I was watching it at a pub, my local pub, and the owner is a Chelsea supporter, and I was sitting right next to him, seeing as I used to work there, and the looks I got afterwards, because I was one of the only Spurs people there. I've never laughed so hard in my life. Kulusevski, let's have a little chat about Kulusevski, shall we?
Come on.
That lad did some madness yesterday. Yeah. The fact that people are still are not giving him enough credit. People I've heard barely enough of him. Yes, I know Kane had a world-class performance, probably one of his best performances. And by the way, this is by far one of the best Spurs performances I've seen. For Kulusevski to get a goal and an assist in his debut start for Spurs, you can't ask for much more for a debut start, can you? I mean, you can ask for, I don't know, 50 goals. That's not going to happen. But on a realistic term, a goal and an assist is good for a attacking midfielder. It's good for what you would expect from an attacking midfielder.
What do you think he showed yesterday that he could bring that maybe we don't have in this squad?
Heart. He can bring heart. He can bring passion. He can bring correct placement on the field, and discipline. Because a lot of our players, as soon as a goal happens, and as soon as something doesn't go in our favor, the heart and the mentality just breaks. This guy, even when we're losing, I mean, we see it. I saw it in the Serie A when he was playing for Juventus. Even when he was losing, he would still put in all of the effort in which he has, all of the effort he knew he can give, which you can't ask for. You can't ask for a better mentality than I'm going to give it my all. Even if we're losing, I'm going to still do my best to try and get the victory out of it.
You know what I'll add to that, matey, is I think his decision making is a lot quicker than like a Bergwijn or a Mora. And one thing I did notice, we're talking about Kane's weight of passes. I think his weight of pass as well yesterday was spot on.
Yes, yeah. The passing from Spurs when it came to counter attacks was just outright superb yesterday. But Kulusevski himself was one of the best, made some of the best passes made some of the best passes of the week from all the other games in comparison. Like, my guy was making so many, even when we were on the defense, he was still making passes that would delay an attack, which is, even he's an attacking before, you wouldn't expect him to make defensive choices that are great, and yet he was doing it. It was just weird. It was just weird to see such a good performance from someone that you wouldn't expect. It's his first start in the Premier League. You would expect shaky legs, if you know what I mean. And he didn't show that. He showed like he's been playing in the Premier League for 5, 7, 10 a decade. It was just weird to watch.
Weird but wonderful.
Weird but absolutely, yeah. I said it in the pre-match pump-up that he was going to score his debut goal against Man City and that Kane would score. And I've never laughed at a prediction that I've made so much, because I don't know how I guessed that Kulusevski was going to score out of everything. But anyway, Kane, what a player we have in our roster. What a player! Could not have a better striker for the team. And yes, Pep saying, "Oh, it's Kane's team." Shut up! You're just saying that because you lost, mate. I mean, you've never actually. Conte's the only person that's done a double against Pep, isn't he? In a season.
No, it was Nuno in the first game.
Yeah, but Conte's the only person as a single manager, even when he's managing for another team, that's done a double on Pep. So for us to get a double with a Spurs with this Spurs team against Man City, the guys who are most likely going to be the champions. We've opened that wide up for Liverpool, but we'll see how that goes. That's going to be an interesting run, final stretch run for Liverpool, isn't it? Like we've got a gem of a manager, we've got a gem of a striker, we've got a gem of players that have the potential, and Conte is just unlocking player after player after player, and it's so interesting to see how the difference has come since Nuno to this. It's just, I don't know. So many emotions are in my brain, so it's like really hard for me to concentrate on a single thing. And I do apologise.
How difficult do you think it was for the team yesterday to respond to 3 consecutive defeats and also the difficult week we had, and have the mentality when things were going against us yesterday to keep plugging away and keep reacting positively to every setback, and then ultimately come away with the victory, even though we conceded the goal in stoppage time to pick us back, where in most scenarios, heads will go down after that, and yet again we still picked ourselves up after that. How difficult do you think that was for the team yesterday?
I don't know what was said, but before the match and during the half time, I don't know what was said by Conte or by Kane or by the captain Lloris, who, by the way, even though he made a mistake, had a superb game. The amount of saves that he did, including that world class save, back to the mentality thing. I don't know what was said, but clearly the correct thing was said. And like Conte said, they had planned, they knew what they were going to do, and they executed it perfectly. So clearly, it must be in Conte we trust, and that's clearly what the team thought yesterday. In this strategy, we trust. In this tactic, we understand it. We're familiar. We can do it, and that's probably what gave them. Even when the VAR things were happening, even when the 2 goals were conceded, we must have something in their mindset must have been, all right, we're still drawing. This is Man City. We're still drawing. We can still take the win from this, and we did. So
there we go.
Yeah,
unbelievable. Ave Master, great to chat to you, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thank
Good
you very
call as
much,
always,
Harry,
man.
mate.
And we'll speak to you very, very soon.
Yeah, man. See us.
All right. Let's get George on. One sec. How you doing, George? Good to see you. Love the shirt, man. How are you doing? Is that a 60s? Antonio.
How you doing, guys?
All good. Yourself, matey?
Yeah, I'm really well. Obviously, yesterday's put a totally new context on everything. Fantastic! What a result.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people were saying to me yesterday, I had one of my friends that actually said to me in Canada, I can't come back home until I keep going to away games because 3-2, 3-2. What an incredible film. Where were you watching it, George?
Believe it or not, I only managed to see. So I was watching the first half. Now I had the birthday to go to yesterday. So first half finishes, and I start getting ready, have my shower, get ready, sort of plow downstairs to see what's going on, switch on Sky, and all of a sudden it's 3-2, and they're dragging their feet with the clock to stop it. Now my wife's now sort of at the door waiting for us to go, and I'm saying I'm going nowhere until I see these goals and see what's going on. So it was great. I mean, even from the first half, there was such a change. To everything, the whole look of the team, sharp passing, very few misplaced passes, playing around their players, just generally the off the ball play was brilliant. I mean, I think, what was the final figures? I think we had 28% possession. Yep. And off the ball play to me was just amazing. Kulilevsky's just given a totally new dimension. He's allowed Harry to drop a bit deeper and play a similar role yesterday to what he was playing under with Mourinho. So that first pass that he played for Sonny, with Kulevsky running through the centre of midfield to score that goal, and to nutmeg Cancelo as well in the meantime was just brilliant. And his just general off the ball play, Kulevsky, I was really happy to see that. It's one of the things that we desperately needed. And then the unit, just the two banks of players, just keeping their lines, withdrawing back into defence. It was amazing. Really enjoyed it.
Okay, so I have to say, your story kind of echoed, because I didn't get to see my dad or my parents yesterday, because we didn't get into about 2:30 in the morning. So I spoke to my dad today and said, so what do you think of that? And he was like, your mum and I had dinner arrangements, and I had to leave at the 89th minute. So I was listening to it in the car, and he said he almost crashed his car about 3 times on the road to dinner. Yeah, just a crazy 90 minutes. Now, we are going to get up to Harry Kane, but George, one thing I want to talk to you about, because I think this performance needs to be spoken about a lot more, is Kuti. He was sensational yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, certainly in the first half, I think he just gave it was assured. I mean, there is so much to be said for him, sort of coming over that right hand side and just giving that cover. And his, I think he just gives the people around him that assurance that he's there. He has a presence about him, even at 23 years old. He's got a presence about him, and he's just the general organisation of the defence yesterday was much better. Whether that was Dyer's influence as well, just generally communicating across that line. But yeah, I mean, look, Kuti is going to be world class. I don't think there's a doubt about that. I think somebody mentioned about the people who make the argument who's better, Ledley, Toby, Jan, but I've got my fingers crossed with Kuti that he's going to be spoken about in those echelons in the future. Brilliant player, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and he put in another brilliant. How organised? How much more organised does our defence look with Eric Dyer at the heart of it? And how important has he now become for Tottenham based on what you saw yesterday?
Yeah, look, it's night and day, isn't it, from his performances last season? I still think that occasionally I still just get a bit concerned sometimes when he's on the ball, just that he's prone to those clangers that he sometimes used to. I mean, I think yesterday there was a misplaced pass as well that could have taken us into problems in the first half. But I mean, he is a good player. There's no doubt about that. Every single manager that's come through Tottenham has said the same about him. I mean, Mourinho would wax lyrical about him, and again, Nuno wasn't willing to give up the ghost over him either. And Conte just seems to have pressed the right buttons now, and just is bringing out a totally new player. And long may it continue. I did feel sorry for him when he was getting the flack that he was getting, because I didn't think that it was just on him. Some of those errors were errors due to the pressure that was being put on that defence, through the lack of creativity in the midfield. So I'm really happy for the guy, and like I said, long may it continue. And yes, I would say that he is very close to being looked at here at the moment for an England spot. Why not?
So that's it. See, Ryan brought that up, and I hadn't even thought of that. So if you look at this English defence, if there's an England defender to drop out and he's taking the place, who are you talking about? Or who are you thinking right now? Because obviously Maguire's not been in the best of form, but he's pretty senior within that squad.
Yeah, I mean it is, but I mean at least if he's on the bench, if Maguire isn't performing, you can bring it on. You can if his confidence is beginning to wane as it was earlier on in the season, then I think he's the number one alternative in there. I can't think of any other English defender at the moment who you would consider really. To have him on as part of the squad, I think would definitely be beneficial.
Would you have him, Sim?
Yeah, Dyer in the England squad. Look, Gareth Southgate knows him well. He was obviously part of the England squad back in 2018, and he scored that winning penalty against Colombia. So he's he's definitely integrated in that squad. It wouldn't be like a new player coming in. So I think he's always in the conversation as long as he's playing well. I think that's the reality with Dyer, because I think Southgate is a big fan of him. So I think now that he's getting back on form, you've obviously got Maguire, you've got John Stones. But for sure he could definitely get in the head of like Tyrone Mings. He could get in ahead of him.
My one reservation on it at the moment is, do we need him playing any extra games to pick up any injuries? That is the only thing.
Yeah, but look, it might do his confidence good, getting back in the squad as well.
Exactly.
So I think for sure, as long as he's playing well, he's in that conversation. I think Southgate's always got an eye on him, and I think the reality is he dropped out because he dropped form. But if he's back on form, I think Southgate would definitely draft him back in. George, a lot of people have been waxing lyrical about Harry Kane. Tell me about what you thought of his performance, and where does it rank for you in terms of individual performances in the Premier League era? Because I've heard people say it's one of the best striker performances of the Premier League era.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see enough of the second half, to be honest, to make that sort of the main performances for me will always be the Chelsea game and the Arsenal game that people have mentioned already. He's a different type of player now, and dropping back into that midfield role and becoming the creative element in the midfield, I think is something that's necessary as long as we don't have that type of a player. It sounds as though it's definitely a top 5 of his performances, and like I said, I'm going to try and get a recording as quickly as possible of the second half to watch it. If I could just mention a couple of things, because you're both probably exhausted and I'm the last guy on here at the moment, so I'm conscious that I'm keeping you guys from your families and everything else. But the first thing is a tip, next time you get Stel and Nikon, just put everything down and just pad it. Pad the studio.
A kid's fun house.
Because I don't want any other to sort of picture Stel or being in an A&E ward and trying to recover. And the other thing was, I caught Conte's pre-match press conference when he was sort of going over his interview with Sky Italia, and he just genuinely seemed annoyed at the way that he had been misrepresented. And I don't know if you sort of caught onto it, but he's saying, look, what is it with Tottenham and you guys trying to stir up problems? Because he said, I've noticed with previous managers that the same has been happening. So I'm glad that he's finally bringing it up without any fear and saying, look, what is it with you guys and trying to stir up something that doesn't actually exist, misrepresenting what I'm actually saying. And it happened so many times with Poch and Mourinho, and they both dealt with it in different ways. But I just wanted to sort of take my hat off to Antonio and say, good on you, because it's about time that somebody said it. I'm fed up of being the soap opera here of the Premier League. And just because some elements of the media would prefer to see Conte at Man United instead of Tottenham, doesn't mean that they can just stir things up just for the sake of making a story.
Do you think yesterday's performance was maybe there was a bit of even a reaction to all the stuff that's been said in the media over the past few days? Do you reckon there was an element of that yesterday in the performance?
Yeah, I do. I think that it was the same with Harry. I think that he was genuinely annoyed with the way that the media treated him as well during the period when he was being trying to have links with City, and I think he came out there with a real point to prove. So I think that it was a lot of things coming to a head. I think even Kulu. I mean, Kulu, that was what a stage to announce yourself to the world that you are genuinely a real quality talent. And that match would have been seen all around the world and in Italy. So, there was a lot of factors yesterday which led to that, let's say, coming of age of this Spurs squad. And I just hope we can keep it consistent, do it against Burnley, and push on from here now.
All right. George?
Always a pleasure, sir.
Thanks for calling. Great call.
Guys, take care. Thanks for everything that you do. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on. Thanks for calling, George. Good stuff. And I've got some amazing news coming from Ellen Road at the moment. At half-time, it was 2-0 to Man United. Yep. And 2 goals in 2 minutes for Leeds have put things level.
It was Rafinha heavily involved in both.
Rafinha actually didn't even start. He came on at half-time. And he's got one of the goals, and the other goals from Rodrigo. So very positive news for us in the top 4 race. Hopefully Leeds can take momentum, maybe even win the game. And if they're taking points off Man United, that's very, very positive for us in the top 4 race. So let's hope they can keep up. It's currently 2-2 Ellen Road with 25 minutes to go. But that is all we have time for today on the live stream. We're going to have player ratings and 5 takeaways coming your way very, very shortly. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for a great live stream. Brian, thank you for joining us.
No way. I just want to say a very special thing to a very special someone. Bobby K over in Toronto, wishing you a very, very, very happy birthday, brother. I hope, obviously, I think it's the first time Tottenham have given a result for someone I know whose birthday can even be better. I hope you have a wonderful day and a fantastic year ahead, Mr. Bobby K. Love you to bits.
It's Bobby K.
It's Bob. No, he doesn't. Oh, yeah, it's right. Bobby K. It's Bobby K. Bobby, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Bobby.
Love that.
Look at that go.
Brilliant. Nice one. Nice one, Brian. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for all your super chats, all your comments. Thank you for everyone for interacting with the stream, all the tweets as well. Thank you for everyone for that. Go check out all the vlogs and all the content yesterday if you haven't, because absolutely brilliant.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommended. We're going to have some clips out for you very shortly as well. So see you all very, very shortly. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.